Previously in chapters 1661 to 1680, Wang Lin separates his avatar to reform the celestial realms, reuniting with his evolved Mosquito King in the Wind Celestial Realm. Entering a mysterious rift filled with millions of ancient eggs, he discovers a horrifying truth. The entire area is actually the internal structure of a colossal living entity from the immortal astral continent, with the rift being a wound torn open by the seven-colored celestial sovereign. Wang Lin's divine sense allowed him to see everything in this mysterious place. This place wasn't very big but was like a long narrow passage. The side of the passage was very bleak and there were some broken areas on the side, making it seem as if this passage could collapse at any time. One end of the passage was where Wang Lin was and the other end was very deep inside. Even Wang Lin's divine sense couldn't spread toward it, and he could only vaguely see a giant stone door. There was a piece of paper on this door. It was a paper charm that kept it sealed. After pondering for a while, Wang Lin walked forward and disappeared. When he reappeared, he was at the end of the passage, 1,000 feet away from the stone gate. No divine sense could spread past this point, and a powerful pressure prevented anyone from entering. Wang Lin stood 1,000 feet away, staring at the stone door before him, and his eyes became serious. This stone door looked very old and also had some complicated words on it. He had never seen these words before, but he could feel the ancient aura these words gave off. After some careful observation, he saw that the stone door didn't seem to be standing there perfectly. Instead, it was as if someone had forced the stone door to be here so that it could support this passage and allow it to exist forever. After pondering for a bit, Wang Lin stepped forward into the 1,000-foot area. The moment he entered, his expression changed. A powerful pressure rushed out, making it difficult for his steps to land. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. This place was strange, and even now he still had no idea what was going on. However, his right foot suddenly landed and the entire passage rumbled. After one step, he took another step, and every step crossed several dozen feet. In the blink of an eye, he arrived in the middle of this 1,000-foot distance. Here, popping sounds came from his body as if he was going to collapse. He was not here with his ancient god body, so he could not withstand the pressure if he went further. He formed a seal with his right hand and sat down, then he closed his eyes and pointed to between his eyebrows. Wang Lin's body suddenly trembled and a vortex appeared between his eyebrows. His origin soul left his body and then a blood light shined. The blood light was his blood sword. Wang Lin fused his origin soul with the blood sword. With the protection of the blood sword, Wang Lin's origin soul flew past the last 500 feet and headed toward the stone gate. For the blood sword and his origin soul, these 500 feet passed by in a flash. The rejection force was shocking. It continued to bombard the blood sword in an attempt to shatter Wang Lin's origin soul. At the last 100 feet, the rejection force reached a terrifying degree. The blood sword trembled and Wang Lin's origin soul was about to be pushed out from inside it. His origin soul held on and the blood sword slammed into the side of the passage to stabilize itself. Although it had stabbed into the side, the blood sword was still being pushed back. The distance of 100 feet was already very close for Wang Lin. His origin soul appeared above the blood sword, and he stared at the stone gate and the paper charm on it. Observing it closely, Wang Lin was almost certain that someone had placed this stone gate there later, and its purpose was to support this passage. There was also the paper charm on the stone door. The rejection force was coming from the paper charm. Its role was to seal the door so that no one could come in from the outside or leave from the inside. What kind of place is outside the door? Wang Lin thought quickly, but the blood sword was still being pushed back. As a result, Wang Lin went from 100 feet from the door to 200 feet. The blood sword was pushed out from the side of the passage until it was 500 feet away. Wang Lin's origin soul returned to his body and his eyes opened. If my original body was here, while the 500 feet would be difficult, I could walk to the door by using the immortal spell. However, if I were to leave now to fuse with my original body, it would waste a lot of time. There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes. During his life of cultivation, he had never bowed to any force. At this moment, he let out a cold snort and his eyes formed a seal. The thunder in his left eye flashed and his thunder essence appeared. At the same time, the fire in Wang Lin's right eye raged, revealing a burning flame. He raised his hands as he sat there. His left hand was life and his right hand was death. Open palm was karmic cause and closed palm was karmic effect. His eyes opened and closed as the true and false essence revolved around him. In the end, a shocking slaughter aura erupted from his body. His sixth essence, the slaughter essence, rushed out. The six essences condensed between his eyebrows and the vortex between his eyebrows appeared again before his origin soul rushed out. His origin soul returned to the blood sword with the six essences. Thunder flashed, fire burned, the three ethereal essences rotated around it, and the slaughter essence opened a path. At this moment, the blood sword charged toward the stone door 500 feet away. As it charged forward, the rejection force became even stronger, but it couldn't stop the full force of Wang Lin's cultivation. His origin soul was like an invincible sword. In a flash, he closed into 100 feet, but this time he didn't stop, he charged forward. In a flash, the blood sword stabbed directly into the stone door. The sword pierced 3 inches deep into the stone door. There was a buzz as the sword shook violently and a powerful rejection force rushed out. It collided with Wang Lin's 6 essences and wanted to break his origin soul. The moment the blood sword pierced the paper charm and went 3 inches into the stone door, Wang Lin's origin soul felt an aura that didn't belong to the cave, but he was very familiar with. This was the aura of the immortal astral continent, the place his divine sense had explored right after his dream Tao ended. The immortal astral continent, a world that had existed for countless years. It was the size of countless inner and outer realms. Even third-step cultivators needed a very long time to cross it. The immortal astral continent was known as the most spectacular place in the universe. In the eastern part of the immortal astral continent, there was an endless mountain range. It was covered in fog and filled with celestial energy. Birds and flowers filled the area and flying cranes danced in the sky. This mountain range's size was equal to about 10% the brilliant void star system. The mountain range looked endless, but it was merely a speck of dust compared to the entire immortal astral continent. There was a mountain in the mountain range that pierced into the sky like a sword, pointing upwards. Although it looked endlessly tall up close, it still only looked like a small hill from afar. There was a large group of palaces on this hill. This was a branch of a sect on the immortal astral continent. This sect was called the Guai sect. This sect was about the same as the Seven Tao sect. It couldn't be considered a big sect. At this moment, within the main square of this branch, there was a giant clock 10,000 feet tall floating there. It looked very majestic from a distance. However, just at this moment, the clock trembled and a buzz that echoed across the entire sect came from it. Several rays of light immediately flew over from the surrounding palaces. When they arrived, a shocking blood-colored light came from the clock. The moment the blood light appeared, it radiated brightly. It was as if this light had left the immortal astral continent for far too long, but today it had returned once more. A scarlet-red sword tip appeared within the bloodlight. It had stabbed 3 inches through the clock, and the shocking bloodlight was coming from it. Yi Mo's sword. One of the rays of light arrived faster than others and instantly closed in. This was a middle-aged man wearing a strange robe. His eyes shined and his peak arcane void cultivation spread out. There was a hint of arcane turbulent power coming from his arcane void cultivation. It was obvious this person had already passed an unknown amount of arcane turbulence. As he closed in, the remaining rays of light arrived, revealing 8 people. They all stood under the clock and stared at the tip of the sword that had pierced through with strange gazes. Under their gazes, the sword tip slowly retracted and the bloodlight disappeared from the clock, leaving only the mark that would remain for eternity. Everyone silently pondered as they coldly stared at the clock. Everyone was silent. One of them slowly said, "Senior brother, should we open this Eastern pill clock?" "No need for now." Before Senior brother Ma took some people and left, he said that this clock must not be opened. He will come back on his own. Yimi's blood sword. It seems that the rumor that Yi Mo was lured into the cave of the 7 Dao sect is true. That 7-colored sovereign abandoned his Dao partner and sealed the 7 Dao sect. He must have obtained a valuable treasure. Senior brother Ma studied this for a long time, and used my Guei sect's treasure to open a passage to the cave. With Senior brother Ma's cultivation level and methods, there is no need for us to worry. Inside the strange passage, the blood sword withdrew from the stone door, and Wang Lin's origin soul was in shock. The rejection force knocked the sword back 500 feet. His origin soul returned to his body and then he grabbed the sword and retreated 1,000 feet. Wang Lin looked at the stone door with a serious expression and his heart rate accelerated. His full cultivation was active and he was extremely alert. He felt a sensation of his mouth turning dry. After a long time, he saw that there was still no change to the stone door. Only then did he finally let out a deep breath. Immortal Astral Continent. Outside this stone gate is the Immortal Astral Continent. Wang Lin looked at the surrounding passage and enlightenment appeared in his eyes. I understand. I originally thought this was the door to the 7-colored celestial sovereign's cave. However, it is obvious now that this isn't the door but a passage someone else opened. Wang Lin stared at the stone door 1,000 feet away with a gloomy expression as he retreated. As he moved, the strings of mosquito eggs gave off flickers of light, causing this whole place to look extremely bizarre. This passage should not exist. Someone opened this passage directly into the 7-colored celestial sovereign's cave. Who opened his passage? Wang Lin's eyes lit up and his brain began to work. He quickly searched his mind, looking for traces of clues. Through these clues, Wang Lin began deducing what happened back then. Who is it? Is it the madman? Or someone else? Wang Lin retreated and arrived back at the place where the mosquito beast was absorbing the eggs. The mosquito beast didn't know what Wang Lin was thinking and was still happily absorbing. Its body shined as it slowly digested what it had absorbed. Just as Wang Lin retreated to the edge of the rift and was about to leave, he suddenly stopped and looked up. Lightning rumbled in his mind as he remembered something. At the Scattered Thunder Clan, I learned that a long time ago, a group of mysterious people appeared. They wore strange clothes and had unprecedented spells and treasures. When I absorbed the Eternal Thunderbolt, I saw its memory and saw vague images of that group of people. There was also the Soul Lasher. That whip was a treasure that belonged to them. I had thought about going to the Planet 5 Elements to find Na Duo. The leader of that group looked like Na Duo. From the news of the Scattered Thunder Clan, those mysterious cultivators came from the outside the ancient star system. However, there is nothing outside, so they are clearly cultivators from the Immortal Astral Continent. Wang Lin's eyes shined brightly and his mind became clear as he continued to analyze. He didn't hear the words of the people in the Guei sect, but as Wang Lin continued to analyze, he gradually began to grasp the truth. A bold speculation appeared in his heart. The 7-color celestial sovereign of the 7 Dao sect won the heavenly Dao and abandoned his Dao partner. He sealed the 7 Dao sect and comprehended the heavenly Dao inside his cave. However, his behavior caused others to become suspicious. On a certain day, someone with amazing talent on the Immortal Astral Continent used a special method to open up a direct passage to the 7-colored celestial sovereign's cave. They arrived through this passage. These people are the mysterious cultivators that the scattered Thunder clan met. They didn't first appear in the outer realm but in the Wind Celestial Realm. However, no one in the Wind Celestial Realm noticed their appearance. They sealed this passage and left the Wind Celestial Realm. Perhaps they had searched the inner realm, but in the end they left the realm sealing formation and went to the outer realm. Then for countless years they disappeared. After a long time, the 4 celestial realms collapsed, and the passage that was sealed suffered damage. Perhaps it was always unstable, or a passage to somewhere else opened up. There are many possibilities, but the end result is that it attracted a group of mosquito beasts from an unknown place. These mosquito beasts reproduced inside the passage and ripped open the seal. They rushed into the collapsed Wind Celestial Realm and occupied this place. Various images appeared in Wang Lin's mind. They were all illusory things he imagined. He looked at the end of the passage and pondered. This is the second time this rift has been opened. However, it is obvious that these people still exist in this cave, and they haven't left. Otherwise, this stone door and passage wouldn't exist. They would have sealed it completely and leave no trace so they couldn't be detected in the future. Since they haven't left, where are they? Planet 5 Elements. They haven't found what they want yet. Perhaps what they want is the same as the 7-colored Taoist and old ghost John. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. These people must have this idea. Wang Lin's body moved and his right hand reached toward the mosquito. He was going to bring the mosquito out of the rift with him. However, the mosquito beasts revealed a reluctant gaze as it looked at all the eggs. It let out a hiss at Wang Lin. Wang Lin turned and looked at the millions of mosquito eggs. His eyes lit up and he waved his right hand. A gust of wind rushed through the passage, causing the eggs to disappear. They were put into Wang Lin's storage space. The Mosquito King hissed cheerfully and was no longer reluctant to leave as it followed Wang Lin out of the rift. Outside in the Wind Celestial Realm, the wind howled and fog covered the rift. Wang Lin stood beside the rift and his hands formed a seal. Then his hands closed together and the edges of the rift trembled. Soon the rift closed in and melded back together. After sealing the rift, Wang Lin's right hand began forming seals until it became blurry. Endless restrictions appeared, landing on the rift. In the blink of an eye, the countless seals completely shrouded the rift. After doing all of this, Wang Lin silently pondered for a bit but still felt worried. He raised his right hand at the void and the world rumbled. The giant head he got from the ancient tomb that was used to grow the ancient leaves suddenly appeared. There was still a large amount of dried trees on it, but a lot of ancient leaves had grown. 3 years ago, when Wang Lin absorbed all those ancient clan statues in the ancient celestial realm, he had been slowly sending ancient power into this place. These ancient leaves had grown as a result of that. With one wave, a few dozen complete ancient leaves flew off the trees and flew into Wang Lin's hand. He waved his hand and Theses leaves landed on the sealed rift, sealing it once more. After doing all of this, Wang Lin collected the remaining ancient leaves and put the head back into his storage space. He then waved his sleeve and left this fog with the Mosquito King. As the rift was sealed, it disappeared without a trace. The fog around it also thinned until it disappeared completely. Floating there, Wang Lin lowered his head and looked at the Wind Celestial Realm below him. His divine sense spread out and covered the entire Wind Celestial Realm. The entire Wind Celestial Realm appeared in his mind. The collapse of the Wind Celestial Realm was not irreversible, and because of the mosquito beasts, the collapse was not very complete. This place was much better than the Rain or Thunder Celestial Realms. As for the Lightning Celestial Realm, Wang Lin had never gone there, so he didn't know the changes that had occurred there. Then let's use this Wind Celestial Realm as the foundation. If the Lightning Celestial Realm is as well preserved, then it can be integrated as well. Wang Lin took a breath and raised his hands. His spirit void cultivation rushed out into his divine sense, which had shrouded the entire Wind Celestial Realm. The fragments of the Wind Celestial Realm gathered from all directions, as if an invisible force was pushing them toward the center. As the countless fragments rumbled, even the endless wind began to collapse. The mosquito beasts that had lived here for a long time all flew into the air. They were all terrified as they looked around in a daze. Gather! Wang Lin's white hair flowed in the wind as he let out roar, and his raised hands suddenly clapped together. With Wang Lin's current cultivation level, he was able to make the countless wind celestial realm fragments gather once more. Mid-stage spirit void was powerful even among the third-step cultivators. There were very few of these in the inner and outer realms. The earth continued to tremble as it moved slowly, thunderous rumbles echoing. At this moment, if one looked from above, the wind celestial realm was like a scattered mirror where the pieces were slowly moving toward each other and finally fusing back together. The moment they gathered, a complete continent suddenly appeared. The wind in the sky suddenly collapsed. There was no trace left behind. The countless mosquito beasts in the sky trembled. They detected Wang Lin and the terrifying power coming from him. Over the last 100 years, many mosquito beasts had been killed by Wang Lin's Mosquito King. All the powerful mosquito beasts had all died for some reason years ago. The remaining weren't strong enough to cause any problems. After reforming the wind celestial realm, Wang Lin landed on the continent and sat down. He closed his eyes and his divine senna spread out. He fused with this continent and controlled it to fly forward. Thunderous rumbles echoed. Under Wang Lin's control, he brought the wind celestial realm out of the world it existed in by force and into the cloud sea. The continent floated there, emitting magnificent amounts of celestial energy. This celestial energy was different from what was on the immortal astral continent. It has been changed by Joss flames, and was a celestial energy that belonged to the cave world. A long time, the Lord of the Celestial Realm created these 4 continents to gather Joss flames. As a result, the continents of the 4 celestial realms were different from normal. Those mosquito beasts were on the continent and was suppressed by Wang Lin's pressure, so they couldn't fly out. They could only tremble and move with the continent. The stars rumbled and Wang Lin sat on the continent. Although his eyes were closed, his divine sense controlled the continent to fly toward Summoned River. He was going to the Lightning Celestial Realm. The Lightning Celestial Realm was the only celestial realm Wang Lin hadn't been to. That place gave off countless bright lights that created a gorgeous reflection. The howl echoed across the stars, and this sound became even more intense. Under Wang Lin's control, the large wind celestial realm continent charged out. After reclaiming the Summoned River, some of the Summoned River cultivators in all heaven had returned to their hometown in the last 3 years. They were familiar with this place and they would recover better there. The lightning celestial realm of the Summoned River was very different from the other 3. It was completely open, and as long as one entered the northern part of the Summoned River, they would clearly see the bright, silver river. This silver river was the lightning celestial realm. Wang Lin had come to the Summoned River several times, but each time he was in a rush. He had seen this silver river too and knew it was the lightning celestial realm, but he had never entered. The wind celestial realm rushed in, and the moment it appeared in the Summoned River, a ripple spread out along with its a powerful pressure. The wind celestial realm continent slowly stopped before the silver river in the north. Wang Lin stood up and looked at the lightning celestial realm. He stepped forward and entered the silver river. The silver river contained countless small fragments. The lights coming from them formed this eternal silver river. On the 3rd step since Wang Lin entered the lightning celestial realm, he stepped out from the silver river, looking tired. He waved his hand and the entire silver river shook. The silver river flew toward the wind celestial realm continent and slowly rotated around it. As it rotated, the wind celestial realm continent was shrouded by this silver river. From afar it was very beautiful. The destruction of the lightning celestial realm is irreparable. It can only exist as a guardian river for the future celestial realm. Wang Lin let out a sigh as he controlled the wind celestial realm continent and the silver river to leave. The 3rd place he was going to go was the Thunder Celestial Realm in all heaven. Wang Lin was very familiar with the Thunder Celestial Realm as he had been to many places there. Soon, the giant wind celestial realm continent surrounded by the silver river appeared in all heaven. The ripples caused by their appearance were immediately noticed by the recovering cultivators in all heaven. They all trembled and spread out their divine senses. What they saw shocked them. At the entrance of the Thunder Celestial Realm, the bolt of thunder at the gate had long disappeared, pulled away by Wang Lin years ago. Upon returning to this familiar place, he didn't hesitate to step into the Thunder Celestial Realm. The collapse of the Thunder Celestial Realm was too destructive. A lot of the continents were taken by Master Flamespark, And after all the things that happened, very little remained. The entire Thunder Celestial Realm was in ruin and was filled with desolation. It was extremely unstable here, as if it could collapse on a large scale at any moment. Looking at everything before him, Wang Lin let out a sigh. This place can no longer be used. The Thunder Celestial Realm is unsalvageable. After pondering for a moment, Wang Lin shook his head and withdrew his divine sense. Then he turned to leave. Deep within the Thunder Celestial Realm was old Ghost Xian, and his eyes revealed a mysterious light. Although Wang Lin couldn't perceive his presence, he could see Wang Lin. To gather the 4 celestial realms. How much does he know? Is he the third one? Old Ghost Xian pondered, not stopping Wang Lin from leaving. The moment Wang Lin walked out from the Thunder Celestial Realm, his eyes shined an undetectable amount. When his divine sense first spread out, he didn't notice old Ghost Xian. However, the heaven-defying bead inside his body suddenly moved and released a strange power. With this power, Wang Lin suddenly noticed old Ghost Xian looking at him from the depths of the Thunder Celestial Realm. Wang Lin didn't act recklessly but left without revealing any change in his mood. So he is still hiding here. After leaving the Thunder Celestial Realm, Wang Lin moved at full speed toward the last celestial realm, the Brilliant Void's Reign Celestial Realm. Several days later, Wang Lin stood at the intersection of the 4 celestial realms. In less than half a month, Wang Lin had gone to all 4 celestial realms and gathered enough resources to reform the celestial realm. Looking at the space of the inner realm, Wang Lin closed his eyes. A moment later, he suddenly opened his eyes and pointed at the space below him. The Wind Celestial Realm continent will act as the root of the new celestial realm. After he spoke, the Wind Celestial Realm continent flew out from behind Wang Lin toward where he pointed. As it moved, it released a powerful pressure, and celestial energy filled the area. It was located at the intersection of the 4 star systems. If it was divided by star system, each star system would occupy more than 20%. The new celestial realm isn't big, but the dust of the Reign Celestial Realm will help make it expand. Wang Lin waved his hand and the endless dust he had gathered in the Reign Celestial Realm flew out. The moment the dust appeared, it fused with the new celestial realm. As layers and layers landed, it caused a thick layer of dust to form on the new celestial realm. Just at this moment, Wang Lin raised his right hand and pointed his 5 fingers at the sky. Then his eyes lit up and a giant palm print appeared in the sky. This palm print was the War Spirit print. The moment the print appeared, it slammed down toward the continent with Wang Lin's control. The palm print was powerful but had no destructive force. Instead, the pressure of the palm was used to condense the dust. As the dust condensed, the continent began to expand. Thunderous rumbles echoed and the continent expanded a large amount. From afar it was already incomparably large. The lightning celestial realm Silver River will protect the new celestial realm. This river will divide the mortals from the celestials, so that no cultivator under the soul formation stage can enter. This is law. Wang Lin waved his sleeve and the Silver River flew over. It surrounded the entire continent and gave off a burst of silver light. Under this light, the new celestial realm became its own realm. Will formation. Make this new celestial realm the core of the formation. Fuse the aura of the ancient star system here. Wang Lin bit the tip of his tongue and spat out essence blood. It sprayed on the new celestial realm and the Silver River. When his blood fell, the wheel formation that surrounded the inner realm suddenly activated. A giant wheel shadow appeared above the new celestial realm. It continued to absorb large amounts of outer realm aura, and then injected it into the new celestial realm. This realm has been formed, but it is only rudimentary. However, it is no longer necessary for me to worry about how it will change in the future. Right now the last thing to do is connect the souls of all the cultivation planets in the 4 star systems to the new celestial realm. Then all the mortals that become cultivators will be led to the celestial realm once they reach the soul formation stage. Wang Lin sat above the illusory wheel that floated above the continent. At the same time, due to Wang Lin's actions during the last half-month, all the inner realm cultivators knew what was happening. Wang Lin had sent out a message, and under the command of Qin Lin and others, the remaining cultivators scattered across the 4 star systems. They went to every planet and continent where life could appear. The formation of the new celestial realm was not something Wang Lin could do alone. All he was doing was creating land itself. In fact, Master Hongshan and others could do this as well, but they still needed to heal after the war. Also, they don't know the secret that this whole place was just a cave, so they couldn't see further. Only Wang Lin knew everything. He understood the meaning of responsibility, and there was something he needed to do. Wang Lin knew that the war with the outer realm was about to come to an end, or it was already over. However, the inner realm was about to face an even bigger test. Either he would pass this test and lead the people out of the cave, or he would fail and everyone in the cave would die. All life would be destroyed, and after tens of thousands of years under the heavenly Tao, new life would appear like a reincarnation cycle. Perhaps one day, after countless years, there will be any baby named Wang Lin that will be born. The tens of thousands of remaining inner realm cultivators appeared everywhere in the last half-month in the 4 star systems. They each took a part of the soul of a planet and then moved on to another one. In the last 3 days of the last month, the tens of thousands of cultivators returned one by one. They offered the parts of the planet souls they had taken, and these souls fused with the new celestial realm. When the last cultivator returned, the new celestial realm contained the souls of all the planets in the 4 star systems that could hold life. Now all the cultivators that appeared would be led to the new celestial realm once they reached the soul formation stage. After doing all of this, Wang Lin's divided origin soul returned to his body. He opened his eyes and clasped his hands at the tens of thousands of inner realm cultivators looking at him. I'm about to go on a trip, and I don't know if I'll survive or not. I'll not hold the title of Lord of the Sealed Realm. Guarding for 3 years and forming the new celestial realm are the last things I'll do. Now I'm going to defy the celestials. If I succeed, then the celestials will collapse. If I lose, then I'll die. Zitu, if I die, I hope you will tell everyone what I told you. Record it in a jade, place it on every planet, within every treasure, and in this new celestial realm. Even if all sentient beings are destroyed, this will be something the heavens can't destroy. Give the future generation a chance of knowing the truth. Wang Lin looked up and flew off into the distance. His back was filled absolute loneliness. Behind him, the tens of thousands of cultivators, including Qing Lin, Master Hongshan, Situ Nan, and others, all clasped their hands at Wang Lin. Wang Lin didn't understand what a powerful person was when he was young. He only knew that the neighbor's children were stronger than him, so they were powerful people. Wang Lin only understood what responsibility was a few years ago, after more than 2,000 years of cultivation. The Lord of the Sealed Realm was a powerful person, and being that person came with responsibility. Wang Lin didn't have this title for long, but it had pushed him toward a true sense of maturity for cultivators. This kind of maturity was a spiritual feeling, a sense of self-empowerment. Only after understanding responsibility could one truly become powerful. This perhaps seems a bit empty, but the most direct example of a powerful person to Wang Lin was his father. His father was only a mortal, but to the young Wang Lin, his father was powerful. At the same time, he carried the burden of the family. He was like a mountain that shielded Wang Lin and his mother from the wind and rain. As long as his father was there, his home was there. This was a powerful person. Wang Lin had cultivated for more than 2,000 years. At this moment, he slowly comprehended a lot from his memories of his father. Things in this world were often like this. To use the smaller things to see the bigger picture. He had guarded the inner realm for 3 years, created the new celestial realm, and killed countless until his hands were dyed red with blood, but he couldn't look back. He could only move forward until he either died or broke the obstacles before him. He would continue to walk the path toward the future. His white figure was like a willow leaf floating among the stars. It had no root, but it was not lost. It quickly fluttered as if it was looking for something and was eventually engulfed by the darkness of space, leaving no trace behind. Wang Lin's original body was sitting in the wheel formation in the cloud sea. In the last 3 days of the 3rd year, he slowly opened his cold eyes. He turned around and looked into the inner realm. In his gaze, his avatar walked closer and closer from the inner realm. His steps caused no ripples and didn't cause any rumbles, but every step was extremely heavy. Wang Lin's avatar arrived next to his original body. He turned his head and looked back toward the inner realm like his original body. This was like a picture. If it could be preserved, it would become a legacy. In this picture, the sea of stars was the background and the wheel formation was the hue. Two identical faces stood there, gazing into the distance. After a long time, Wang Lin's avatar turned around and stepped toward his original body. A soft light shined as his avatar fused with his original body. Popping sounds echoed as Wang Lin's white hair fluttered, and he stood up. He redirected his cold gaze toward the outer realm. The last 3 days, then the 4 generals of the ancient celestial realm will appear. The final secret of this cave will be revealed. Unfortunately, even now I don't know what that third thing is. Wang Lin silently pondered. However, no matter what, this final battle will be very interesting. 7-colored Taoist, Old Ghost John, the 4 celestial generals that want the celestial sovereign to awaken, and finally the cultivator from the immortal astral continent that came from the passage in the wind celestial realm. Before all this, let me begin a chaotic prelude for this final battle. Wang Lin's eyes shined and he stepped off the wheel formation, heading toward the ancient star system. I'll destroy the outer realm's ancient celestial realm. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with killing intent as he charged into the ancient star system. He turned into a ray of light and charged forward while releasing his full cultivation. He didn't hide his aura or his figure. He directly told the entire outer realm that he, Wang Lin, had arrived. The stars rumbled, and as Wang Lin's divine sense spread out, all the powerful cultivators of various clans were shaken. No matter what they were doing, they all looked up at the sky. They could clearly feel a shocking killing intent coming from the inner realm. Wang Lin didn't know where the outer realm's ancient celestial realm was, and he didn't blindly search for it. Instead, he went into the depths of the ancient star system. He didn't know where it was, but it didn't matter. In 3 days, when the ancient celestial realm and the inner realm opened and the 4 generals descended, he would be able to sense the outer realm's ancient celestial realm that would open at the same time. As Wang Lin's divine sense swept across the ancient star system, the sovereign was in his other palace staring straight ahead. His dried-up right hand clenched in a fist and didn't loosen for a long time. He silently pondered for a long time, and in the end, he couldn't make up his mind to kill Wang Lin. He feared Wang Lin's bow a lot, and before Wang Lin used up those last 2 shots, he wouldn't dare to act. 2 years ago, he wanted to launch a sneak attack during the chaos, but he had been detected by Wang Lin. Then he was forced to helplessly retreat when Wang Lin called him out. He appeared in the ancient star system. Why did he come? Is he trying to provoke me so he could lure me out and kill me? The sovereign's eyes were filled with suspicion. He couldn't understand why Wang Lin would so arrogantly appear in the ancient star system. This old man won't get close. I want to see what he can do. The sovereign could only suffer silently. His cultivation was heaven-piercing, and if not for his worry about the bow, he would immediately kill Wang Lin. Also in the ancient star system, in the vortex formed by several stars, where 7-colored light shined, was the 7-colored Taoist. He had an indifferent gaze as he looked into the distance and revealed a faint smile. The Li Guang bow and arrow are in his hands. Although I told the sovereign to hand it out, it is still his own fortune. Now that he came here again, what is he going to do? He is very similar to Old Ghost John. If he is not the third, then he is a mysterious existence in his cave world. A cultivator like him, if he is not the third one, then it would be a pity to kill him. However, he has a flaw, and if he doesn't die in the end, he can be used by me. The 7-colored Taoist withdrew his gaze. The blood formation is complete, so soon I'll know where the third one that had reincarnated countless times is. I have searched for you for countless years. I want to know who the present you is after so many reincarnations. In the ancient star system on a cultivation planet sat a woman in white. She was very beautiful but had a cold aura that made her feel like an ice mountain. It was as if she was made of snow. Her eyes were closed, but at this moment she suddenly opened them. It's him. This woman was the third of the celestial sovereign's 8 concubines. She hadn't participated in the war against the inner realm. Instead, after leaving the ancient tomb, she remained here, silently waiting for something. For him to appear here, what is he going to do? Also in the ancient star system there was a huge rift. In this rift, filled with birds and flowers, the 7th concubine sat. At this moment, the 7th concubine opened her eyes, her gaze revealing a strange light. What is he going to do? These were not the only people who had guesses about Wang Lin's action. Even people like Tao Master Miao Yin, Devil Master Nine Heaven, and company all awakened from their healing. They looked at the stars with gloomy expressions. Wang Lin's presence gave them a large amount of pressure because of the bow in his hand. Almost all third-step cultivators locked onto Wang Lin's aura from a distance. They didn't know what Wang Lin was going to do, so they were very serious. When these third-step cultivators' divine senses locked onto Wang Lin, he stopped flying. At this moment, he was already near the center of the ancient star system. No matter where he needed to go, he could get there almost instantly. After he stopped, Wang Lin sat down and closed his eyes. He began to silently cultivate as he waited. His behavior shocked all the third-step cultivators who were observing him. Time slowly passed. In the blink of an eye, there were only 12 hours left of the last 3 days of the third year. Once these 12 hours passed, a shocking change would occur in the cave world. However, at this moment, aside from Wang Lin, no one else knew it was going to happen. Not even the seven-colored Taoist and old ghost John had control over this matter. There might be one other person who would have a feeling something was happening. That would be the All-Seer, who was sitting on that piece of rock in the summoned river that Wang Lin hadn't detected. The All-Seer's eyes revealed a strange light as he lowered his head, and his hands continued to change before him. As he divinated, his eyes became brighter and brighter, and he revealed an exhilarated expression. Almost there. The last 12 hours. Wang Lin's figure remained motionless as he slowly cultivated to maintain his aura at its peak. He also kept the drop of celestial blood fully active. 11 hours, 10 hours, 9 hours. Soon the 3-year period was about to end. When there was only 4 hours left, Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes. When he did this, everyone who was observing him was shocked and had many speculations. It's that thing. Wang Lin turned his head toward the right and gradually revealed a strange expression. To the right of Wang Lin, in the distant stars, there was a group of hundreds of ancient star system cultivators flying over. Their hair was a mess and they had some unknown substance smeared over their faces. They were very colorful and strange. As they moved forward, they roared loudly at the same time. The celestial dragon reveals the Tao. Believe my words and avoid world destruction disaster. Don't believe me and all will perish. The celestial dragon is mighty. The celestial dragon is mighty. The celestial dragon reveals Tao. Believe in this apostle. It will take us to the endless celestial realm and become immortal. As the word spread, thousands more cultivators came after the first few hundred. They all let out the same roars. There was a giant spirit stone platform between these two groups of cultivators. The spirit stone platform gave off a powerful aura. It was nearly 10,000 feet wide and looked like a small mountain. Spirit stones of this size were extremely rare. Wang Lin had cultivated for a long time and had rarely seen spirit stones this large. Although spirit stones were useless to him now, after seeing it, his expression became even more strange. There was a red dragon coiled on the spirit stone. This dragon was not large. It lazily lied there as the thousands of cultivators carried it. Sometimes it would break off a piece of the spirit stone and throw it into its mouth. It would munch on it before devouring it, revealing a very comfortable expression. Celestial dragon is mighty. Celestial dragon reveals Tao. The roars from the cultivators made the dragon even more comfortable. If I hadn't been trapped in that damn place for so many years, this old dragon could have had a better life in the cave world than outside. That damn vermilion bird, that damn celestial sovereign, and that damn sovereign, fortunately I escaped. Now this is my ideal life. How nice and wonderful this life is. I can't help but think of my hometown and sing loudly about it. The red dragon looked very proud. Its claw broke off another piece of spirit stone and threw it into its mouth. Two little dragon girls under the flying snow mountain. Do you know of my thoughts for you? Your long whiskers, your wonderful bodies, and your alluring eyes. The red dragon seemed to be a bit too happy and began to hum. At the same time, its dragon tail seemed to hit the spirit stone in a rhythm. The thousands of surrounding cultivators could only helplessly look at the dragon. To them, its voice was too mournful and contained no taste at all. Whenever this happened, they could only roar loudly to offset its terrifying voice. Celestial dragon reveals Tao. Celestial dragon is mighty. This red dragon was the fire dragon that was almost bled dry by the second-generation vermilion bird in the fallen land. The second generation had given the dragon to Wang Lin, but it escaped. Along with the fact that the ancient tomb was opening, Wang Lin didn't bother with this dragon. Now hundreds of years had passed. Just when Wang Lin was about to completely forget about this matter, this pitiful fire dragon appeared in his divine sense. Just as those thousands of cultivators came with the dragon, all the divine senses of the third step cultivators that had gathered on Wang Lin moved over following Wang Lin's gaze. The fire dragon was still munching on the spirit stones and was still singing proudly. However, at this moment the dragon trembled. The munching and the singing suddenly stopped. It blinked its eyes and was filled with confusion. However, this was soon replaced with fear, and its body trembled. Damn their dragon grandmas, why are there so many divine senses here? Why are they all so bored that their divine senses are gathered here? After being startled for a moment, this silly dragon let out a sobbing roar. Back up, quickly go back. As it roared, the silly dragon trembled. It had already been very careful in developing its own force. It hadn't provoked people it didn't think he could handle, in fear of being caught again. Even though it looked daring, the routes it had taken were carefully selected by him. It had taken this route more than 10 times and had never encountered any danger. It also had some strange spell to hide its aura. So unless you were deliberately looking for it, this dragon was difficult to find it. Normally, when it met a cultivator that was weaker than himself, this dragon would display its might and scare that person to obediently become a member of its celestial dragon sect. However, today it could have never expected that it would rush into a large amount of divine senses halfway through its trip. These divine senses made him tremble. There were many that were strong enough to make him swallow large amounts of dragon saliva. Its dragon heart pounded rapidly. The red dragon flew off the spirit stone and was about to escape. However, it looked at the panic and confusion of its disciples and struggled a bit before suppressing its fear. It carefully landed back on the spirit stone platform and let out a few dry coughs. This celestial dragon remembers that there was a pot of pills being refined. We are not going out to play anymore. Carry me back to refine those pills. After hearing this, although the surrounding cultivators were still uncertain, they listened the dragon's order. They carried the giant spirit stone platform and slowly retreated. However, the spirit stone was too large, so its speed was very slow. The red dragon was extremely anxious, and it felt a sense of greed in those divine senses. It was sad to find that as the spirit stone moved back, those divine senses followed and locked onto it. Damn it, all of you, hurry up. If you're all too slow, this dragon will devour you all. After that, it still seemed a bit worried and quickly added something. That pot of pills of mine is very precious. The dragon was in a tense mood and its heart was pounding. It didn't dare to act too suddenly, because if it suddenly flew away, it would only attract more attention. It could not be impatient, it had to remain calm. Celestial dragon, you're a celestial dragon, you have to calm down. It's not a big deal, you just didn't see them. The silly dragon encouraged itself and acted like nothing had happened. However, it was really bad at pretending, and as it tried to pretend, it just revealed everything on its face. After they gradually retreated more than 100,000 feet away, those divine senses all left, much to the joy of the silly dragon. It seemed that to them, the appearance of the dragon was only an accident. They had no interest toward the dragon, so they all withdrew their divine senses. This was a great surprise for the dragon. It let out a big breath and made up its mind. After returning home, it wouldn't leave for 10 years and it would never take this route again. This route was simply too terrifying. The surrounding cultivators were still in shock and didn't know what had happened. It was unknown who had started, but in order to please the fire dragon, they all suddenly began to roar loudly. The celestial dragon reveals the Tao. Believe my words and avoid world destruction disaster. The celestial dragon reveals Tao. Believe in this apostle. It will take us to the endless celestial realm and become immortal. Celestial dragon is mighty. The moment the chanting started, a powerful divine sense came from behind them. This divine sense contained a powerful pressure and almost scared the fire dragon senseless. Mighty? What might? You all shut up! The dragon roared, almost in tears. It thought it had avoided a calamity, but it didn't expect these people's roars to attract a divine sense that made it tremble. It had invented those phrases himself, and it always felt comfortable listening to them. However, now those words were sending it to its grave, and this made the fire dragon let out a miserable roar. After letting out a roar, the fire dragon quickly turned around. It bowed with both hands clasped, with an expression making it seem as if it was about to cry. Hee. I've disturbed you. Leave, these little ones don't know what they are talking about. This little dragon isn't mighty at all, and is certainly not a celestial. I'm a snake, that's right, just a snake. I just look a bit like a dragon. Eh? The fire dragon shivered and even its words became all jumbled up. I won't disturb you fellow seniors gathering here. You are all busy, so no need to pay any attention to me. I'll leave on my own. Don't bother sending me off. The fire dragon trembled and even abandoned the spirit stone platform as it anxiously escaped. However, as the fire dragon rapidly retreated, it suddenly stopped. This time it was really about to cry as a white figure with white hair appeared before it. Wang Lin stepped out and looked at the fire dragon with a smile that wasn't a smile. It's you. The fire dragon saw Wang Lin and was startled. There was a reason the second-generation vermilion bird had called it a silly dragon. When the dragon saw Wang Lin, it remembered how weak Wang Lin was and completely forgot about the divine sense that made it tremble. Damn it, you also dare to stop this dragon? You drank my blood before. Today this dragon wants you to pay. The dragon glared at Wang Lin and opened its mouth. A giant ball of fire shot out and devoured everything before it, including Wang Lin. However, in the next breath, the giant ball of fire suddenly scattered in all directions. Countless fire seeds scattered and lit up the star system. When the fireball stopped, the dragon let out a scream of fear. Its body was suddenly thrown backward and its eyes became filled with fear. Wang Lin walked out from the fire and all the collapsing fire stopped. It gathered toward Wang Lin and formed a burning flame in his left hand. Fire dragon. Wang Lin still had a smile that wasn't a smile as he looked at the fire dragon. I'm really just a snake. The fire dragon trembled and was no longer being silly. It thought about the terrifying aura Wang Lin gave off. While retreating, the fire dragon let out a howl and used its full power. Fire covered its body and it rapidly retreated. The way Wang Lin had casually gathered the scattered fire was frightening, and it also clearly felt the fire essence in Wang Lin's body. It also had a fire essence, but it was obviously a lot weaker compared to Wang Lin's fire essence. As a result, this fire dragon simply didn't have the courage to fight Wang Lin. Feeling terrified, the fire dragon rapidly retreated. Wang Lin calmly looked at the retreating fire dragon. He squeezed his right hand and crushed the fire in his right hand. A heat wave spread out from Wang Lin's palm in all directions. Wang Lin didn't chase but casually formed a seal. This seal was given to him by the second-generation vermilion bird to control this fire dragon. After this seal appeared, the fire dragon that had retreated far let out a miserable scream. An identical seal appeared between its eyebrows. This seal was deeply imprinted on its head, engraved in the bones of its soul. None of you vermilion birds are good people, it's so painful. You said you'd let me go but still left this seal on me. The fire around the fire dragon collapsed, revealing its body. In a flash, its body expanded to more than 100,000 feet. Its large dragon body gave off a powerful pressure. However, at this moment this pressure couldn't affect Wang Lin at all. The fire dragon's body twisted and the pain from between its eyebrows made it shed dragon tears. So painful. I won't run. I surrender. You can do as you wish, I won't run anymore. Wang Lin dispelled the seal in his right hand and in the blink of an eye, stood on top of the fire dragon's head. The dragon wanted to struggle, but it remembered the intense pain it had just suffered and shivered in fear. It was too scared to resist, and water vapor filled its eyes and it was filled with grievance. It looked into the distance where the celestial dragon sect was, and even more water vapor gathered in its eyes. Come on, my celestial dragon sect. Damn it, I shouldn't have come this way. I should have gone elsewhere. Wang Lin sat above the fire dragon's head. Waves of hot energy came from the dragon's head and surrounded him as he looked ahead. Even his vision became distorted from these heat waves. The divine senses from the third-step cultivators of the ancient star system were still in the area. They had watched Wang Lin capture this fire dragon, but they weren't surprised. Although this fire dragon was strong, equal to an early-stage nirvana void cultivator, To them it was simply too weak. If it was the before Wang Lin knew this was a cave world, he would have still captured this dragon, but he wouldn't have acted so quickly without wasting time. This dragon was different from all the demonic beasts Wang Lin had seen before. Not only could it speak, but it was very intelligent. Not even the nether beast was a match. It even called itself a celestial dragon, and had created the celestial dragon sect. It had also enslaved cultivators to serve it. This already showed how extraordinary the dragon was. Most importantly, this dragon's body contained a faint force of the celestial bloodline. This was very weak and was very difficult to notice. However, Wang Lin had the immortal celestial body blood drop, so he was able to faintly see it. Wang Lin stood above the giant dragon head. His eyes shined as he looked at the fire dragon below him. There were only 3 hours left until the end of the 3-year period. These 3 hours were enough for Wang Lin to get some information from this dragon. The immortal astral continent is your hometown, right? Wang Lin's divine sense that surrounded the dragon suddenly sent out a message. The fire dragon was startled. It blinked with its giant dragon eyes and began to shake its big head. Wang Lin coldly stared at this dragon as he raised his right hand, and the aura of a soul search spell appeared on his palm. He looked at the fire dragon and slowly sent out a message. With your intelligence, you know the effect of the spell in my hand. I'll ask you again. Are you from the immortal astral continent? Horror appeared in the dragon's eyes, but for some reason, it looked at the thousands of celestial dragon sect cultivators in the distance. It clenched its teeth and shook its head. Wang Lin frowned. He couldn't use the soul search spell right now. This was the ancient star system, and there were divine senses of several powerful cultivators here. If he used soul search, it would give them a chance to attack. As a result, it would affect his plan in 3 hours. His eyes became even more cold. Wang Lin scattered the soul search spell, and was going to send the dragon into his storage space. He was going to get some answers from it after he dealt with the ancient celestial realm first. However, just as he was about to scatter his soul search spell, the fire dragon's plead entered his mind. Can you give me some face? You can see my disciples are looking at me. If you can give me some face and cooperate with me, then I'll cooperate with you and tell you okay? Wang Lin was startled and revealed a strange expression. He looked at the fire dragon below him, and after a long time he nodded. The moment the fire dragon saw Wang Lin agree, it was very happy. It straightened its body and flew out from under Wang Lin. Its eyes shined brightly and it looked very majestic. Its large dragon claws pointed at Wang Lin and its mighty voice echoed. You said you want to enter my celestial dragon sect. This dragon won't take offense to what you have done and will let you join my celestial dragon sect. As the fire dragon spoke, it paid attention to Wang Lin's expression. When it saw Wang Lin's brow began to wrinkle, it trembled and quickly said, for a powerful person like you to join my celestial dragon sect, it is my luck. You can be the vice sect master. After it spoke, the frightened cultivators, shocked by what had happened, were all startled for a moment. Before those cultivators could react, the fire dragon suddenly turned around toward them and let out a roar. Okay, all of you go back. This celestial dragon will give some pointers to the new vice sect master, and we'll be busy. I'll be back later, so watch the sect for me. Although those cultivators were filled with doubt, they didn't dare to display it. They all revealed expressions of awe toward the fire dragon and then respectfully left. After all the cultivators left, the majestic aura of the dragon disappeared. It had an awkward expression and was about to speak when Wang Lin stood back on its head. Wang Lin waved his sleeves and brought the dragon to where he was sitting before. Master, this little dragon indeed came from the immortal astral continent. If you have any questions, please ask. This little dragon promises to tell you everything. The fire dragon revealed a flattering expression and quickly sent out a divine sense message. How did you enter this place from the immortal astral continent? Wang Lin sat down on the dragon. I followed my former master and a damned fellow. That damned fellow new master favored me more and refused to accept it in his heart. So he told master that the Seven Dao sect had a treasure and deceived my former master to come here. I was faithful to my master and was naturally worried about him, so I came with him. The fire dragon seemed to be filled with indignation. As it sent out the divine sense messages, It looked into the distance as if it was afraid. After hearing this, Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. He looked at the fire dragon for a long time until the fire dragon's hair stood up, and it sent out a divine sense message. What I'm saying is true, a bit of a lie. I didn't come because I was loyal to my former master, but my former master rode me here. The fire dragon spoke carefully. What is your name? Wang Lin's mind trembled. He had a faint guess. Master, you can call me Little Red. My nickname is Little Red. The dragon waved its big head and sent out a message. Little Red. Wang Lin's eyes suddenly shined brightly. He stared at the fire dragon and his mind rumbled. The madman's words echoed in his mind. Little Red, where are you? Humph, all of this king's things are with Little Red. Go find Little Red for them. Little Red, quickly go find my big brother. Tell him I'm being bullied. Not only did the fire dragon feel his hair stand up under Wang Lin's gaze, its heart also pounded. It didn't know if it had offended Wang Lin, and was about to send out a message in fear. Who is Lian Daofei to you? Wang Lin slowly sent out a message. After the fire dragon heard Lian Daofei, it was startled for a moment. You know my master? Lian Daofei was my former master. It's unfortunate that he is dead. Sure enough, Wang Lin's mind continued to tremble. He no longer asked question and put the fire dragon inside his storage space. He could no longer ask any more questions. Time was almost up, so he had maintained a peace of mind so he could use his full cultivation. He needed to remain calm. If he got more information from the fire dragon, it would be very difficult for Wang Lin to stay calm. At this moment, Wang Lin sat there with his eyes closed to calm the waves set off in his heart. Time passed. As the hearts of the people observing Wang Lin with their divine sense continued to speculate, the last 3 hours slowly went by. The moment the last 3 hours passed, Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes. Time is up. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with coldness. He had waited 3 years for this day. The 3-year period was over. It had also been a full 100 years since the Inner and Outer Realm War had begun. The 4 generals of the Inner Realm's ancient celestial realm wouldn't disappoint Wang Lin. The deal they had made with Wang Lin was about to begin. The stars were silent as the last breath passed. The divine senses surrounding Wang Lin didn't notice the upheaval the inner and outer realms were going through. The first sign of this upheaval was in the brilliant void in the inner realm. In the vast brilliant void, there were bursts of colorful lights that lit up the star system. This caused the darkness of space to look like a blooming flower field. A thunderous rumble rang out among these beautiful lights. This muffled roar echoed across the star system. If this star system was a door, then this muffled roar came from behind the door. It was as if a giant was bombarding the door like crazy. The giant seemed to want to break open the door and walk out. As the thunderous rumbles echoed, the muffled roar also came from Summoned River. The muffled rumble was even heard and echoed in the cloud sea and all heaven. This violent sound appeared during the first breath and reached its peak in the 5th breath. It spread across every inch of the inner realm, to every planet, and into the ears of every living creature. At this instant, the countless living beings in inner realm, whether it was the cultivators, mortals, beasts, or even vegetation, all trembled and entered a daze. There was an uninhabited savage planet that had no people but was filled with many fierce beasts. These beasts had lived here for generations. They hunted and killed in the rainforest here. However, when the thunderous rumble echoed, the planet became silent. All the beasts, whether it was the pouncing tiger or the giant python that had just caught a little beast, trembled. They were terrified as they looked up at the sky in a daze. The little beast that hadn't died forgot to struggle. It looked up and was stunned. Rumble, 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 rumble. The sound was heaven-shaking. During the 8th breath, it was almost crazy. It created countless ripples that echoed across the 4 star systems. At this moment, it seemed like countless creatures from the ancient celestial realm were roaring. Their roars was this rumble. On a planet in the Summoned River, inhabited by only a few dozen cultivators. They hadn't gone to the new celestial realm but were looking for mortals that could cultivate, searching for seeds for the future of the inner realm. At this moment, their faces were all pale and they coughed out blood. They looked at the sky in fear. They didn't know what had happened, but the roar in their ears had entered their minds and made them panic. Could it be that the outer realm is invading again? Everyone was shocked. They were about to fly out, but just as they flew into the sky, a thunderous rumble echoed and they were pressed against the ground by a pressure that descended from the sky. During the 11th breath, the rumble echoing across the 4 star systems created a pressure. This pressure came from the ancient celestial realm. This aura was ancient and shrouded the entire inner realm. It seemed to be telling the world they had returned. On a planet in all heaven, there was no longer any cultivators left, only mortals. At this moment, the cities that were supposed to be lively became deathly silent. The elderly man that was selling wine at the edge of the city, and the dozen or so people drinking were all frightened when they saw the previously cloudless sky turn dark. A thunderous rumble echoed and all the mortals blacked out. The mortals that passed out couldn't see the change in the sky. The sky continued to darken until all light was gone and it turned to night. At this moment, it was the 16th breath since the rumble echoed. During these 16 breaths of time, the 4 star systems lost all light. All planets and continents were shrouded in darkness. During the 17th breath, a thunderous rumble that suppressed all the sound from the previous 16 breaths echoed in the brilliant void. This thunderous rumble sounded like a door breaking, like the sky collapsing. As the rumble echoed, a crack appeared in the brilliant void, and it soon formed a giant rift. The moment the rift appeared, roars filled with excitement and madness appeared. The aura of the ancient celestial realm rushed out from this rift and swept across the brilliant void. At the same time as the roar echoed, hideous gazes appeared inside the rift, and dried-up hands wanted to reach out. It was as if there was a group of people behind the rift that were about to go crazy and tear the star system open. At this moment, a similar rift appeared in the summoned river, all heaven and the cloud sea. The 4 rifts tore open the star system and released the aura of the ancient celestial realm. The ancient celestial realm was about to awaken. In the thunder celestial realm in all heaven, old Ghost John suddenly stood up and his expression changed. He stepped forward, leaving the thunder celestial realm, and appeared in all heaven. His eyes revealed a strange gaze as he looked at rift that, and his eyes became cold. Ancient celestial realm. The rifts in the 4 star system trembled and spread out like crazy. On the 19th breath, the entire inner realm seemed to be split. The 4 rifts spread until they met at the intersection of the 4 star systems, which was directly above the new celestial realm. A thunderous rumble echoed when the 4 rifts overlapped, and a giant cross appeared in the sky. The aura of the ancient celestial realm leaked out and excited roars came from within. All the light in the inner realm collapsed. At this moment, the inner realm had no light. The endless light was all sucked away and was changed in a bizarre way. It all gathered outside the 4 rifts and gave off a dazzling glow. Thunderous rumbles echoed, causing the silver river around the new celestial realm to tremble. Even the new celestial realm buzzed. Many inner realm cultivators looked up at the sky. Qing Lin's face turned pale and he charged into the sky. This is the aura of the ancient celestial realm. The ancient celestial realm has returned. Master Hongshan, Master South Cloud, and Qing Shui, come with me to greet the ancient celestials. Qing Lin flew into the sky and 3 rays of light followed him. They were Master Hongshan, Master South Cloud, and Qing Shui. The 4 of them flew toward the sky. Below them were the inner realm cultivators and a giant statue standing on the highest peak. This statue had been moved here from planet Suzaku by someone during these past 3 days, so that it could be worshipped by all future generations. When Qing Lin and company rushed out from the Silver River, they looked at the giant cross-like rift. Even Qing Shui revealed a look of respect. There was no need to mention Qing Lin and others. They didn't dare to show any sign of disrespect. The ancient celestials were like gods to these old fellows. Only Situ Nan stared at the sky among the cultivators below. In his mind, Wang Lin's words still echoed. He hadn't told anyone else about this. Looking at the rift, there was not the slightest bit of awe, only a complicated sense of confusion. The ancient celestial realm, it had been gone for a long time, and now it was descending upon the world once more. Shocking roars came out from the cross-shaped rift. In the end, the rift was completely ripped open and all the surrounding light gathered to form a block of light. In the blink of an eye, another block of light appeared. Soon hundreds of blocks of light appeared. These blocks of light soon formed a giant staircase that floated there. After the stairs appeared, figures covered in golden light excitedly walked out. Soon dozens of figures rushed out. Finally free. Now that our cultivation has recovered, us celestials have returned. Roars came from these dozens of golden figures. They each had the aura of a third-step cultivator. However, these auras were different from that of the cultivators of the cave world. However, it was very difficult to describe what the exact difference was. After these dozens of people, there were still more golden figures flying out. Looking from afar, this made for a shocking scene. Qinglin and company were the closest. As the golden light filled the sky, they all had solemn expressions. Master Hongshan and Master Southcloud clasped their hands. However, compared to them, Qinglin was the most excited me. He stepped forward and clasped his hands at the golden figures. He spoke with respectful tone. The Lord of the Sealed Realm's disciple Qinglin greets the ancient celestials. However, his existence and words didn't catch the attention of any of those ancient celestials. The celestials laughed wildly and directly flew past them. They shot toward the new celestial realm. This celestial hasn't devoured Joss flames in a long time. Although the Joss flames here aren't strong, they will satisfy me for now. Joss flames, this place has the aura of Joss flames. Haha, I didn't expect there to be Joss flame prepared for us when we awakened. Disciple of the Lord of the Sealed Realm, you're very good. These celestials rushed toward the new celestial realm. When Qinglin and company saw this, their minds trembled. Qing Shui's eye glowed red and killing intents filled his body. His daughter was on the new celestial realm, and this new celestial realm had been built by them. This was their home. At this moment, someone had broken the door and was going to destroy his home. It didn't matter who that was. Even if they were ancient celestials, Qing Shui was still going to kill. Qing Shui charged forward. Master Hongshan and Master Southcloud were frozen for a moment before their expressions changed greatly. After hesitating for a moment, they clenched their teeth and rushed forward. Qinglin was stunned, and his struggle was the most intense. However, he saw the dozens of celestial laughing wildly as they ripped open the Silver River. The gap revealed tens of thousands of inner realm cultivators who were filled with fear. Qinglin let out a roar and stepped forward. Stop! Fellow ancient celestials, this is my inner realm celestial realm. Qinglin rushed forward as he roared. But before he could finish speaking, about 7 or 8 people turned around. Their eyes revealed domineering, golden light and they waved their hands at the 4 of them. Thunderous rumbles echoed and a golden storm filled with the power of the celestial bloodline rushed at the 4 of them. As the storm rumbled, Qinglin, Master Hongshan and Master Southcloud trembled. What guts! You dare to stop us celestials from absorbing Joss flames? One of them sneered. His words contained endless arrogance and a sense of superiority. This golden storm contained the celestial bloodline, and produced a suppression that was the natural enemy to people of the inner realm. This caused Qinglin, Master Hongshan, and Master Southcloud to retreat in shock. However, this bloodline force had no effect on Qing Shui. It was as if he didn't notice it at all. He charged through the golden storm, toward the dozens of celestials, filled with shocking killing intent. However, he was still a bit slow. The dozen of celestials that had come out first had already arrived above the new celestial realm. They looked at the tens of thousands of cultivators looking at them in fear and laughed. A few people immediately released their bloodline suppression so that the cultivators below wouldn't dare to move. Then a few of them descended. One of them grabbed a female cultivator from the summoned river and was about to inhale. Once he inhaled, he would be able to turn this female cultivator into Joss flames and absorb them. However, just at this moment, an ancient celestial spread out his divine sense while laughing wildly. Just as his divine sense spread out, his laughter stopped and his eyes widened. An unimaginable amount of panic appeared on his face and he let out a scream. His scream was mournful. The moment he screamed, everyone else was startled. The celestial that had grabbed the female cultivator subconsciously loosened his grip on her and looked up at the person that had screamed. His statue. There is a statue of him there. The mournful scream echoed. The dozens of celestial that had arrived and the dozens that came after all froze for a moment. Their divine senses spread out, and after looking at the distant peak, they all gasped. The celestial that had grabbed the female cultivator loosened his grasp and his face turned pale. It's him. Why is his statue here? This sudden discovery caused fear to appear on the faces of dozens of celestials. They could not forget the power of that arrow in the ancient celestial realm 3 years ago. It wasn't until this moment that Situnan awakened. He raised his head and raised his hand without hesitation and took out a jade. This jade was given to him by Wang Lin when they met on planet Suzaku. And Wang Lin told him about the ancient celestial realm. Wang Lin had told him that once the celestials appeared, if they tried to kill the cultivators, crush this jade. Situnan took out the jade and crushed it. Once it was crushed, Wang Lin's aura erupted from this jade. Those dozens of celestials were very familiar with this aura. The moment this aura appeared, they suddenly looked up at the sky. The sky distorted and a white figure appeared. This figure was Wang Lin. That jade contained a sliver of his divine sense. Although it was only an illusion, his cold gaze spread out. Vermilion bird, black tortoise, azure dragon, white tiger. Is this your so-called agreement? Wang Lin's eyes stared coldly at the dozens of celestials and then waved his sleeves. Get the hell out of here, he roared. With that roar, a shocking killing intent spread and triggered the memories of those dozens of celestials. They let out screams and their faces turned pale while they quickly retreated. In the blink of an eye, they left the new celestial realm. Outside the new celestial realm, among the dozens of celestials that had come out, there was an old man. He was the azure dragon. He had a gloomy expression as he stared at the people that had broken into the new celestial realm. He let out a cold snort before taking a step forward and clasping his hands. This old man was not strict enough and came a step too late. I hope fellow cultivator will forgive us. This old man will give you an explanation. Fortunately, there were no casualties, so fellow cultivator, please don't be angry. Our deal is still on. We from the ancient celestial realm won't kill a single inner realm cultivator. In the outer realm, Wang Lin opened his eyes and revealed a cold gaze. He had long expected this, which was why he had left the jade there. He saw those celestials leave in defeat and was about to speak when he suddenly looked into the distance. There was no hesitation. Wang Lin stood up and charged off into the distance. The ancient celestial realm was the original one, and was then split in half. Although it had been split between the inner and outer realms, they were still linked. Now that the inner realm's ancient celestial realm had opened, the outer realm's ancient celestial realm would open as well. Although there was a formation blocking the upheaval inside the inner realm, some of the third-step cultivators in the outer realm still felt it. In particular, the sovereign's eyes were flooded with disbelief when he suddenly understood what Wang Lin was going to do. Not good. He is going to use the power of the arrow to destroy the outer realm's ancient celestial realm. He is this crazy. He must have learned about everything. That this place is only a cave world. The sovereign's expression changed and then he charged into the stars. At this moment, not only his, but the expressions of all the third-step cultivators who were observing Wang Lin changed. They all understood what Wang Lin was going to do at the same time. Wang Lin moved at full speed. From his position, he only needed an instant to arrive anywhere in the ancient star system. He disappeared, and when he reappeared, he was in a star domain where there were large amounts of spatial rifts. This star domain right now had countless rifts, and thunderous rumbles came from within them. The moment Wang Lin arrived, the star domain seemed to collapse and a giant gap appeared. The aura of the ancient celestial realm came from within, and mad laughter followed. Golden figures walked out from the gap. These figures were also ancient celestials. They were all disciples of the Seven Tao sect, but they were no longer loyal to the seven-colored celestial sovereign but to the concubines. To be more precise, they were loyal to the Tao partner the seven-colored celestial sovereign had abandoned to save his own life. Without the order from the seven-colored celestial sovereign's Tao partner, they wouldn't be following the commands the seven concubines. It could be said that this was the root cause of the Great War in the cave. They were the final ace the celestial imperial concubines held. When everyone realized what Wang Lin was going to do, the seventh concubine's expression changed greatly, and she rushed toward Wang Lin. Even the third concubine was shaken and quickly rushed over. Mad laughter echoed inside the gap as the golden figures flew out. However, everyone that came out immediately saw the white-haired cultivator in white that seemed to be waiting for them with his eyes closed. They didn't recognize Wang Lin. Although Wang Lin had a cultivation level, they didn't consider him a threat. They laughed wildly and excitement filled their eyes. We're finally able to come out. Since we are here, then the 4 generals must have come out as well. Kill them and obtain the Dao Tome, and we can form a new 7 Dao sect. Not only must we kill them, but we must end all the lives in this cave world. Only then can we reopen this cave. The golden celestials flew out as they roared. One of the celestials revealed a cruel expression as he charged at Wang Lin. He was extremely fast, and when he got near Wang Lin, he raised his right hand with a grin. You ant cultivator, you have bad luck by being at our door. This celestial will absorb you and turn you into Joss flames. Ordinary cultivator of the immortal astral continent, common disciple of the 7 Dao sect, you dare to call yourself a celestial? Wang Lin opened his eyes and golden light shined from them. This golden light was formed by condensing the power of the immortal celestial body blood drop. This light contained extremely pure celestial bloodline. When he saw the golden light in Wang Lin's eyes, the celestial that had charged forward stopped and his expression changed greatly. He subconsciously retreated in shock and a rumble echoed in his mind. Who are you? His answer didn't come in the form of words but Wang Lin's actions. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with a golden glow, and he raised his left hand. The Li Guang Bao appeared with a rumble and he grabbed it. His right hand grabbed the bowstring and suddenly pulled back. With a buzz, the Li Guang Bao reached full moon. The arrow that had terrified many people appeared on the bow, and the space around it twisted. After the arrow appeared, the world changed colors and trembled. The celestial recovered from his shock and looked at the bow. He felt like it was familiar. This bow is very familiar. This bow. Li Guang Bao. The moment the celestial recognized this bow, his expression changed greatly. Fear and disbelief filled his eyes as he let out a scream in fear and retreated like crazy. He knew about this bow and about the power of an arrow from it. It was a powerful treasure that could even shake the hearts of the people from his home on the immortal astral continent. It had terrifying destructive capabilities. At this moment, he suddenly understood that this person had been sitting here precisely to wait for them to appear. This person had been waiting for the ancient celestial realm to open and use this bow to kill them. Who is he? The celestial retreated as if he was crazy. The only thought in his mind was escape, escape, escape. The huge change here caught the attention of all the other celestials. However, when they saw the bow in Wang Lin's hands, felt the trembling of the stars, and were shaken by the ripples from the bow, their expressions all changed. Li Guang Bao. It's actually the Li Guang Bao. Alarmed, the celestials that charged out retreated like crazy. They wanted to return to the ancient celestial realm. Encountering someone who had the Li Guang Bao and could draw it as soon as they walked out was a nightmare. However, even though they moved fast, they weren't fast enough to escape from the Li Guang Bao. The sovereign wasn't able to, and they also weren't qualified. Wang Lin's right hand pulled the string even more as he let out a roar. At this moment, it was as if Wang Lin was about to break the bow. He stared at the terrifying and retreating celestials with monstrous killing intent in his eyes. The people he wanted to kill were these disciples of the 7 Dao sect. These arrogant 7 Dao sect disciples who saw the people of the cave world as ants. You are no different from the people of the scattered Thunder clan. Wang Lin's right hand loosened and a buzz echoed across the entire star system. The bowstring suddenly retracted and sent a powerful force into the arrow. This howling sound was loud enough to shatter the heavens. The power of the Li Guang Bao caused the heavens and earth to tremble. The world before the arrow collapsed and fragmented as the arrow shot forward. The celestial that was going to kill Wang Lin had nowhere to dodge. He screamed as his body collapsed as the arrow penetrated him. His origin soul was extinguished. He was not the first cultivator from the immortal astral continent that Wang Lin had killed, and he wouldn't be the last. As the arrow shot forward, it expanded until it was tens of thousands of feet long, and it was still expanding. The dozens of celestials that had come out were deathly pale. Compared to the speed of the arrow, they were like babies trying to run away. With a bang, the 3 celestials collapsed and then died with miserable screams. Thunderous rumbles continued to echo as 3 celestials' bodies trembled and collapsed. Just as their origin souls were about to escape, they disintegrated. They were destroyed by the cave world they felt contempt for. The arrow gave off a golden light. This golden light lit up the entire star system and continued to spread out. The rumbling sounds continued, and in the blink of an eye, another 8 celestials died. They were still feeling ecstasy while walking out of the ancient celestial realm, but now that ecstasy turned into the reason for their deaths. The arrow instantly killed all the celestials that had walked out, then it went inside. This caused a thunderous rumble to echo inside the gap and triggered a violent collapse. The impact of the collapse spread out in all directions as a shockwave. This shockwave was powerful enough to change the trajectory of cultivation planets, but wasn't enough to move Wang Lin's ancient god body. Wang Lin's hair fluttered quickly, and the shockwaves caused his clothes to flap loudly. However, his eyes were firm just like his body. He was going to kill, and this arrow wasn't going to kill enough. Wang Lin didn't know how many people were inside the ancient celestial realm or how many of them were powerful, but he understood that just the Li Guang Bao might not be enough to destroy them all. However, he could destroy the opening to the ancient celestial realm so that they would never be able to come out again. After the first arrow was shot, the sovereign's body suddenly stopped millions of kilometers away. He stared ahead and his eyes were filled with joy. This is good for me too. I calculated that he only had the power for 2 shots. Now he has wasted one, and if he uses another, he will for sure die. Wang Lin, if you really fire the bow twice and I don't kill you today, I will no longer call myself sovereign. I'll take on your family name instead. The sovereign laughed as he rushed forward. Just as he took a few steps, he laughed like crazy again. He was releasing the resentment he had felt for the last 3 years. The second shot, he indeed released the second shot. Wang Lin, you are dead. I'll first seal the ancient star system so you can't leave, then I'll slowly kill you. Without hesitation, the sovereign waved his hand and his powerful cultivation spread out. This seal wouldn't prevent people from coming in, but it would prevent them from leaving. After doing all of this, the sovereign disappeared as he rushed forward. At the same time, the 7th concubine was deathly pale. She staggered back and her eyes were filled with monstrous resentment. As she stared straight ahead, it was as if she was going to break her teeth from clenching them so hard. Wang Lin, I'm going to kill you. Tao Master Miao Yin and Devil Master Nine Heaven were rushing through the star system. Their hatred for Wang Lin was no weaker than the sovereign and the 7th concubines. Although they were injured, that didn't still their killing intent. At this moment, they were rushing toward Wang Lin, who they had locked onto. With all these people wanting to kill you, I don't believe you can come out alive. Tao Master Miaoyin smiled. This old man is going to extract a sliver of your soul and use it to light the heaven lantern for 10,000 years. Only by listening to his suffering for 10,000 years can my hatred be extinguished. Hatred filled Devil Master Nine Heaven's eyes. Wang Lin indeed drew the bow a second time. This was the first time he had drawn it twice. This time his forehead was covered in sweat. The drop of golden celestial blood between his eyebrows rapidly dimmed as he drew the bow completely open to a full moon. The arrow that was shot into the ancient celestial realm had reappeared on the bow. This arrow was stained with blood and gave off a strong bloody smell. Before him, the hole to the ancient celestial realm has mostly collapsed after the first arrow. The ancient celestial realm that was revealed was also a mess. There were countless fragments floating inside the rift. That arrow just now had shocking power. At the moment the bow was drawn, 2 auras came from inside the rift. Both auras were as powerful as the sovereign's and quickly spread from the rift. Wang Lin's eyes revealed killing intent and he loosened his right hand. The bowstring buzzed and a second arrow shot out. The moment the second arrow shot out, the golden light in Wang Lin's eyes faded and the golden light in his left eye dissipated completely. As for his right eye, there was still some left, but that soon disappeared. It was unknown whether Wang Lin had hidden it or if it had also disappeared like his left eye. As the arrow got close to the ancient celestial realm, a powerful suction force came from the tip of the arrow. As it rushed into the ancient celestial realm, it pulled the gap. When the arrow completely entered, the gap to the ancient celestial realm collapsed. This collapse destroyed the gap, preventing the celestials of the outer realm's ancient celestial realm from coming out. This also destroyed the passage and blocked all chance of them coming out. Only the muffled rumbles continued to come from where the opening had collapsed. The 2 powerful auras were blocked and unable to come out anymore. The muffled rumbles seemed to become more and more distant. Wang Lin couldn't see the power of those 2 shots from the Li Guang Bao. But for the people inside the ancient celestial realm, it was their nightmare. The outer realm's ancient celestial realm and the inner realm's ancient celestial realm were connected in a mysterious way. The 4 generals all had solemn expressions with a hint of terror as they looked at the churning sky before them. The sky was like a mirror, revealing a blurry yet shocking scene of what was happening inside the outer realm's ancient celestial realm. This child, it's best we don't mess with him. After a long time, the Azure Dragon General took a deep breath and dread filled his eyes. The Black Tortoise General silently pondered for a moment before he said, "He definitely doesn't only have 2 shots left. He is not a fool and his mind is as cunning as a devil's. How could he let others see his bottom line so easily? I guess he has at least 3 more shots." The 4 of them looked at each other and all nodded. After Wang Lin shot twice, a laugh echoed across the ancient star system. The sovereign appeared, filled with killing intent as he walked toward Wang Lin. The sovereign appeared at a very precise moment. He appeared just as Wang Lin released the arrow for the 2nd time. The sovereign already felt like he had to kill Wang Lin. Considering cultivation levels, he had already entered the arcane turbulent stage, so aside from a few limited people, no one was his opponent. If it was identity, even though he was merely a slave, even the powerful people had to give him some face. In this cave world, he was the leader of the 5 masters of the ancient celestial realm. He had enjoyed countless years of high status and was viewed as a god by countless cultivators. He was used to being above others. He also had the Sovereign Council. With just one word, he could set off a catastrophe in the outer realm. Even some of the concubines wouldn't dare to stand before him. That was the sovereign. Even in the inner realm his name was famous. Almost everyone who knew his name would be filled with fear. Everything that had happened revealed just how cunning and elusive he was. From when he gathered powerful cultivators to kill the Lord of the Sealed Realm, to the arrival of the Tattoo Clan to mess with Qing Lin, and then the destruction of the 4 celestial realms. Finally, he left a lot of seeds in the inner realm. Xianxia, the head disciple of the Cloud Sea's heaven-breaking sect, and Taoist water. All those people had been manipulated by the sovereign. He had set off multiple wars between the inner and outer realms. The amount of cultivators that had died by his hand was enough to cover a star system. Before meeting Wang Lin, he had only been in a sorry state 3 times in his life. The first was when the 7-colored Taoist had tried to force him to become his disciple. However, to be forced by the 7-colored Taoist meant he had great talent. The second time was when old Ghost John broke into the outer realm to steal Joss Flames. The 2 of them battled and the sovereign lost. That battle made him deeply remember the name, Old Ghost John. As for the 3rd time, it was when the sovereign went into the inner realm to look for the Li Guang arrow. He was seriously injured by a roar and was forced to retreat. Aside from these 3 times, he had done as he wished and had never miscalculated. That was until he met Wang Lin. It was as if Wang Lin was his nemesis, and this almost made him go crazy. The first time he schemed against Wang Lin was when Wang Lin first entered the ancient star system. He wanted to fish out Wang Lin's soul, but not only was he stopped by Tao Master Blue Dream, he had lost Wang Lin's aura due to the ancient tomb. This matter was considered an accident, and the sovereign didn't take it to heart. However, soon a second encounter took place. At the entrance of the ancient tomb, he watched Wang Lin seal a large portion of the outer realm's power. Just as he tried to free the 3rd step cultivators inside, Wang Lin released a roar that borrowed the power from the lowest layer of the tomb. This roar felt like a sharp sword colliding with the sovereign. This made him cough out blood and quickly retreat. This matter was barely passable as an accident. Although the sovereign felt depressed, he at least understood the reason. However, it didn't end there. There was still the 3rd encounter between him and Wang Lin. He had made his disciple bring the Li Guang Bao to the inner realm to lure out old Ghost John. The 2 of them battled, but the bao fell into Wang Lin's hands. However, what made him gloomy was that Wang Lin actually managed to get his hands on the arrow afterwards. However, even at that moment the sovereign didn't care about Wang Lin. He had still thought that those few incidents were mere accidents. Even if Wang Lin had the bow and arrow, he couldn't use it because of his bloodline. As long as the sovereign wanted to kill Wang Lin, it would be as easy as flipping his palm. Then came the fourth encounter, where he and many other third-step cultivators from the outer realm used fishing the moon in the well to bring Wang Lin into a fake world to kill him. This time he had calculated everything without any flaws and forced Wang Lin to use everything. Even though Wang Lin eventually released one of the souls Yemo had sealed, it couldn't. All this destruction caused Wang Lin to cough out blood, and his body began to fragment under the rumbles. He was constantly pushed back. As his right index finger continued to resist, he formed a seal with his left hand and waved. The stars trembled with this wave and the exact same palm print appeared. It was the War Spirit print. After the War Spirit print appeared, it followed Wang Lin's wave and collided with the Sovereign's palm print. A thunderous rumble echoed. The instant the invincible War Spirit print collided with the Sovereign's palm print, it collapsed. Wang Lin was knocked back and large amounts of blood flowed out from his mouth. This was only his first collision with the Sovereign and he was already seriously injured. However, the Sovereign's palm print only paused for a moment before continuing forward. Wang Lin looked up and revealed a fierce expression as he pointed upward. Bursts of seven-colored light appeared, forming a lance that shot toward the palm print. Both sides began colliding once more, setting off monstrous sounds. Wang Lin's body was swept by the wind and he retreated more than 10,000 feet. His hands were trembling and his legs were covered in blood. However, the big palm print didn't disintegrate, though it had dissipated slightly and wasn't as solid as before. The palm print howled as it descended upon Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with madness. The power of the Sovereign was not outside his expectations. This was the power of an arcane turbulent cultivator. As the palm print closed in, the fire in Wang Lin's left eye and the thunder in his right eye appeared. The three ethereal essences and the slaughter essence rumbled. The 6 essences in his body formed 6 illusory swords. With one wave, these 6 swords shot out toward the palm print. Wang Lin clenched his teeth and rather than retreating, he charged forward. The 6 swords instantly closed in on the palm print and stabbed it. Ripples spread out, and as the swords attacked the palm print, Wang Lin charged forward. He had a fierce expression as he raised his hand, his eyes filled with killing intent. Tearing the heavens. The tearing the heavens spell Wang Lin had learned from Yemo's child was used. He grabbed space itself and mercilessly tore it open. The space before Wang Lin trembled and a rift was ripped open before him. Borrowing the power of tearing space itself, the palm print was also torn open. At this instant, an Ancient One shadow appeared behind Wang Lin. This was different from before. It was no longer just a head but had a vague body. This body was the Ancient One's body. Although Wang Lin hadn't had time to refine those 8 drops of blood, it had appeared. This vague Ancient One figure also opened its arms and tore at the palm print following Wang Lin's movement. The star domain trembled as an indescribable power ripped it open. It ripped open the operation of the heavens and ripped open the Sovereign's palm print. The palm print collapsed. The 6 swords also shattered and returned back to Wang Lin's body in fragments. Wang Lin's hands were a bloody mess. The power of that spell relied on his fingers. Even the Ancient One shadow behind Wang Lin suddenly collapsed. Wang Lin was knocked back. He coughed out large amounts of blood and blood sprayed out from his body. His face was pale, but the madness in his eyes disappeared and was replaced by calmness. It was as everything before was merely a play. This is the power of a peak arcane void cultivator that has entered arcane turbulent. Without the Li Guang Bao, I'm no match. Wang Lin staggered back as sharp pain washed over his body. His origin soul had been damaged by the rebound shockwave. All of this happened very fast. Although the palm print had dissipated, the Sovereign laughed loudly. He was finally certain that Wang Lin didn't have the power to pull the bow a third time. Now that he had no worries, he walked toward Wang Lin with a cruel grin. Wang Lin, I want to see where you will run this time. I have already sealed this star domain, you can't escape. The Sovereign was filled with joy. He had waited 3 years for this day. Just as the Sovereign closed in, howls echoed from the distance. Ripples spread and the 7th concubine walked out with a sullen expression. At the same time, Tao Master Miao Yin and Devil Master Nine Heaven came from another direction toward Wang Lin. 3 of the 5 masters of the ancient star system, and the 7th celestial imperial concubine. Any one of them could shake the inner and outer realms, but at this moment they had all come to kill Wang Lin. Seeing all four of them appear, Wang Lin's eyes became cold. He had been waiting for all four of them to appear. Only then could he complete the first step of his plan: destroy the Outer Realm's ancient star system, and cause chaos in the cave world so the powers were no longer in balance. This was the first step of Wang Lin's plan. But how could he not realize that this would leave him trapped in the ancient star system only to be hunted? His eyes shined. Just as the sovereign was about to close in, Wang Lin suddenly stopped. His left hand reached forward and the Li Guangbao suddenly appeared in his hands. The moment the Li Guangbao appeared, the sovereign's expression changed greatly. He subconsciously stopped and even retreated more than 1,000 feet. His eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. Impossible! You only have the power of 2 shots. I can't be wrong. Impossible. You're just taking out the bow to make a fool of us. You can't draw that bow. The sovereign couldn't accept such a thing. He couldn't accept his plans being wrong again and again. This kind of blow was extremely deadly to him and could break his confidence, shake his Dao heart. At this moment, not only did the sovereign retreat, but even the 7th concubine stopped and no longer moved forward. Dao Master Miao Yin and Devil Master 9 Heaven also stopped, and their expressions changed greatly. The sovereign's face turned pale. Then madness filled his eyes and he roared at Wang Lin. "You're pretending to be mysterious." However, just as he roared, he suddenly stopped as he saw Wang Lin's right hand grab the bowstring and mercilessly pull back. There was a buzz. This beautiful sound terrified the sovereign. The memory of his death 3 years ago couldn't be suppressed and drowned him. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. Even if you can draw the bow, you don't have the celestial energy to trigger the arrow to appear. The sovereign retreated, his face deathly pale. However, just at this moment, a ghostly light flashed on the bow Wang Lin had drawn, and the arrow that suppressed all life appeared. Holding the bow, he locked onto the sovereign and the others that had come. He raised his left hand and pointed the arrow at the sovereign. The sovereign's face turned deathly pale after being pointed at by the arrow. The biggest blow came from his mind. His plans had collapsed again and again before Wang Lin. Even though he was sure this time, in the end he found that he was wrong once more. This old man refuses to believe. All of this is false. Although you have summoned the arrow, you don't have the celestial energy to shoot this arrow. I don't believe it. I'm willing to bet on this. The sovereign went mad. Instead of retreating, he rushed toward Wang Lin. His expression was twisted as his hands formed a seal and the giant palm print appeared once more. A giant, illusory well appeared behind the palm print. The well suddenly spread and the surrounding star domain seemed to become part of it. At the same time, a bright red sun appeared in this star domain that was surrounded by the well's water. The power of the law of origin appeared. The sovereign went crazy. As he moved forward, he hit his forehead with his hand. A fist-sized bone bead suddenly came out of his forehead. The bone bead was gray and gave off a white glow. After it appeared, the sovereign's power increased several-fold. He then charged straight at Wang Lin. "I'll make you believe, make you remember." Wang Lin closed his cold eyes so the others couldn't see the golden light in his gaze. He pulled the bow a bit more with his right hand so the bowstring was pulled back a bit more. Then he suddenly let go. The moment he let go, the arrow shot forward as a ray of heaven-shattering light. The palm print instantly collapsed and was penetrated by the arrow. Ripples echoed across the well, and as the arrow passed, the well shattered. As for the sun, it wasn't able to stop the arrow from passing through. The arrow carried with it a powerful destructive force as it flew toward the sovereign, who was filled with despair. This can't be. The arrow was too fast and instantly passed through the sovereign. His body trembled as the arrow passed by. His body collapsed and the fragments of his body were knocked tens of thousands of kilometers away. Dao Master Miao Yin and Devil Master 9 Heaven coughed out blood and their bodies collapsed. Their origin souls were about to escape when Wang Lin waved his sleeves and captured them. Only the 7th concubine only coughed out a large amount of blood and was seriously injured after the arrow passed. As a celestial imperial concubine, she had a life-saving treasure and luckily survived. After the arrow whizzed past, the sovereign's flesh and blood rapidly reformed and he resurrected once more. He was pale and he looked at Wang Lin with fear he had never shown before. At this moment he didn't dare to say he could calculate how many shots Wang Lin could fire. Without any hesitation, the sovereign fled like crazy without turning back, just like 3 years ago. Just at this moment, a monstrous 7-colored light surged. It was as if someone had come using the 7-colored light and completely lit up this star domain. When the 7-colored light flashed, the retreating sovereign suddenly stopped. He looked at the 7-colored light with a complicated and bitter expression. There was also the 7th concubine that had barely survived due to her life-saving treasure. She also looked at the 7-colored light with a complicated expression. He really came. Wang Lin's pupils shrank, and without hesitation, he retreated back a few steps. His right hand reached at the void and a jade appeared in his hand. He crushed the jade and it turned into dust. A fist-sized black hole immediately appeared where the jade was. The black hole gave off a shocking suction force and emitted a ghostly light that shrouded Wang Lin. It was going to pull him into the black hole. In the distance where the 7-colored light appeared, an illusory figure slowly walked over. The figure was a middle-aged man in a robe. He gave off an air of refinement. He was originally calm, but when he saw the black hole appear when Wang Lin crushed the jade, a mysterious light flashed through his eyes. "You want to leave using that method? That's not possible." The 7-colored Taoist spoke as he casually pointed at Wang Lin. With one point, the 7-colored light suddenly shined brightly and gathered in his finger. A 7-colored storm appeared and shot toward Wang Lin. This storm was too fast and instantly closed in on Wang Lin. It was less than 7 feet from Wang Lin. A chill came from Wang Lin's mind and spread across every pore of his body, telling him it was a life-and-death crisis. Based on the speed of this storm, it seemed like Wang Lin didn't have enough time to enter the black hole. However, he didn't panic, as if everything was within his calculations. Just as the 7-colored storm closed in, a woman's jade-like hand reached out from the black hole. Her middle finger had a bright, green jade ring that collided with the storm. The 7-colored storm silently collapsed and turned into 7-colored gas. The gas took shapes that looked like 7 poisonous snakes and drilled into the jade-like hand. A wounded muffle came from the black hole. The jade-like hand trembled and soon formed a seal. The hand suddenly split into 7 of the exact same hand and overlapped to form a circle. A 7-colored light came from these 7 hands. With a gentle pat, the 7 hands all gave off different colored lights, forming a 7-colored print. It flew by Wang Lin and shot toward the 7-colored Taoist in the distance. At the same time, Wang Lin's body was pulled in by the black hole, and he disappeared from the ancient star system. All of this happened in an instant. When the sovereign saw the 7 hands, he stared at them and his eyes shined brightly. So it's her. The person who was even more shocked was the 7th concubine. Her face turned pale and she subconsciously stepped back as she exclaimed, "Elder sister, she isn't dead." Only the 7-colored Taoist remained calm. As the 7-colored print closed in, he waved his hand. A 7-colored ripple echoed and collided with the 7-colored print. Thunderous rumble echoed, and a moment later, everything disappeared. The 7-colored Taoist closed his eyes. It was unknown what he was thinking. After a long time, he slowly opened his eyes and looked at where Wang Lin had disappeared. Reminiscence filled his eyes. 7-colored jade print. I think that is the name. Unfortunately, I only have the spell but not the memory. However, it's not enough to escape from me. The Li Guangbao has finished its mission, so it's time to take it back. The 7-colored Taoist raised his head and stepped forward. He disappeared without a trace. Only the sovereign and the 7th concubine were left there. They were both shocked by the appearance of that hand and the identity of the owner of the hand, the celestial sovereign's first concubine, and also the little sister of the celestial sovereign's Tao partner. In the cloud sea there was a giant spatial crack where the demon sect used to be. Few people knew where this crack led to, but many fierce beasts often rushed out of it. At this moment, deep inside the spatial crack, in this dark and strange space, there was a giant beast more than 10,000 feet long. It looked like a lion but had a single horn on its head. There was a woman sitting before the single horn on this mighty lion's head. She was an extreme beauty, and at this moment her face was pale. She continuously formed seals and waved her hands before her. Before her was a fist-sized hole that was devouring the darkness around her. The black hole trembled and expanded. When it expanded to 10 feet, Wang Lin walked out. The moment he walked out, the black hole collapsed into specks of light. Many thanks. Wang Lin clasped his hands at the woman sitting there. The extremely beautiful woman opened her eyes and revealed a hint of exhaustion. She looked at Wang Lin and after a long time, she shook her head and let out a sigh. Back when we parted, your cultivation level was low. I didn't think you would reach such a high cultivation level today. I thought you had forgotten about our agreement, but when I received your message through the jade, I knew you hadn't. You helped me leave here before and I'll naturally not forget. However, due to some matters I came late. Wang Lin smiled and looked down at the giant lion which was running. He decided to sit down. When he decided to go to the ancient star system to destroy the ancient celestial realm there, he had already thought of a way to escape. Wang Lin knew this trip would not be simple. Once he shot the bow twice, the sovereign would act. Even though Wang Lin didn't only have the power for 2 shots left like the sovereign thought, the outer realm was the 7-colored Taoist domain. Once that person appeared, Wang Lin knew it would be difficult to escape. Therefore, when he was cultivating on the wheel formation 1 year ago, he had taken out the jade and communicated with this woman who he hadn't talked to in a long time. They reached an agreement. The reason Wang Lin had looked for the woman's help was because through his own knowledge and various clues, Wang Lin was 60% confident that this woman was the missing first concubine. After they had their first communication, the woman had revealed her identity. She was the first concubine. The beautiful woman softly said, I was once the first concubine of the 7-colored celestial sovereign. I told you this before when we talked through the jade. My other identity is the younger sister of Fan Shanmeng, the 7-colored celestial sovereign's Tao partner. My name is Fan Shanlu. Since you already know that this is just a cave world, there is no need to hide anything from you. The 7-colored celestial sovereign tried to obtain a treasure while 2 of the 9 sons fought. He used despicable methods by using my sister as bait, and he took that opportunity to obtain it. Then he came back and sealed the 7 Tao sect. Once we arrived here, I couldn't believe anyone from the immortal astral continent, and I was injured by the 7-colored celestial sovereign. My cultivation still hasn't recovered, and I had no one to work with until you appeared. There is no conflict of interest between us, we can work together. The woman spoke softly. You want to take the native cultivators here to the immortal astral continent. I'll also help you with this. The immortal astral continent is a mysterious place. It is too big and wars are constant. There is little peace between the various sections. If you want to have a foothold there, you must have a sect. Every decent area has already been taken. To tell you the truth, with your cultivation level, you can't take any sects. As for the cave world, everything here is just an illusion. It is not inaccurate to say all the lives here are indeed fake. Throughout the ages, I have rarely heard of people coming out of the various cave worlds of the sects across the immortal astral continent. I have to tell you this in advance. Wang Lin silently pondered as he sat there listening to her words. However, it is not impossible. When you head to the immortal astral continent, you have to pay a great price and bear the penalty of the immortal astral law. I have heard little about this matter, but only after reaching arcane turbulent in the cave world could you have a chance of surviving it. However, I can help you with this matter as well. The woman slowly spoke as she looked at Wang Lin. I'm listening. Wang Lin's expression was calm, without any hint of fluctuations. When the woman saw this, she couldn't help but reveal a hint of admiration. After pondering for a bit, the woman suddenly said, My elder sister is not dead. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed, but he didn't speak. She is not here. She is in the immortal astral continent. Obtaining a sect in the immortal astral continent is very difficult. But if you kill the 7-colored celestial sovereign, the 7 Tao sect is yours. My sister and I don't want any of it. Actually, we are not people of the 7 Tao sect but core disciples of the Great Soul sect. Back then, we were blind and followed the 7-colored celestial sovereign. The woman clenched her teeth and revealed a resentful expression. Even after you obtain the 7 Tao sect, if you wish to continue cultivating, we can introduce you into the Great Soul sect. As for the penalty of you entering the immortal astral continent, I'll ask my sister to ask Master to help. With Master helping to welcome you to the immortal astral continent, the penalty would be reduced. Wang Lin silently pondered. A moment later he slowly spoke. Besides me, what about the other cultivators of the cave world? The beautiful woman was about to speak when her expression suddenly changed and she looked back. At the same time, Wang Lin also looked back with a gloomy expression. The lion beast below the two of them trembled and revealed a look of horror. It trembled and actually stopped moving. 7-colored light shined brightly behind him like the stars. It was as if someone had ripped this space open and forced the 7-colored light in. Wang Lin's pupils shrank and he stepped forward without hesitation. In a flash, he began moving forward rapidly. Fan Shanlu was the same and moved like a beautiful butterfly behind Wang Lin. While she escaped, she waved her jade-like hand toward the lion beast. The lion beast let out a roar and charged at the 7-colored light as if it was crazy. Fan Shanlu's eyes lit up and she muttered, "Blood sacrifice." The moment she spoke, the lion was covered in a blood-colored light, and then exploded into a blood mist. This mist rumbled and then scattered in all directions. Soon sharp roars came from all directions. The aura of fierce beasts rushed toward the location. Wang Lin was using almost his full speed and moving forward like a ray of light that broke space. He would sometimes fuse with the world and move even faster. Here, Fan Shanlu was a bit faster than Wang Lin. Her cultivation level was extremely high, and although she was injured, she had managed to suppress a lot of her injuries over the years. In a flash, she passed Wang Lin and led the way. She didn't move straight ahead but turned to another direction. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he followed without hesitation. However, just at this moment, a cold snort came from the void behind the two of them. There was no rumble, but a powerful pressure and shockwave came with it. There were hundreds of fierce beasts behind them. They were attracted by the blood mist. However, as the cold snort echoed, they let out mournful cries and were knocked back by a powerful force. As the shockwave spread, the hundreds of fierce beasts all exploded. A few drops of blood and minced flesh flew by Wang Lin, making him even more gloomy. As the hundreds of fierce beasts collapsed, the 7-colored light pierced through. The 7-colored Taoist calmly walked out with his hands behind his back. "Wang Lin, give me the Li Guang Bao and arrow." His words were slow, but when they entered Wang Lin's ears, Wang Lin's mind trembled. Wang Lin's body trembled and he coughed out blood. Fan Shanlu grabbed Wang Lin's arm. Her face was pale and she anxiously pulled Wang Lin forward. "I remember you, you are my first concubine. Why are you running from this lord after seeing me?" The 7-colored Taoist gaze swept past Fan Shanlu. He waved his right sleeve and 9 burning hot red fire bird phantoms appeared before him. The 9 firebirds were not vermilion birds, but the heat they gave off was something not even the vermilion bird could compare to. Also, there were faint traces of planet souls coming from these 9 firebirds. They weren't firebirds at all. They were clearly 9 rare burning planets from this cave world that had been refined by the 7-colored Taoist. Or more accurately, 9 suns. At this moment, with a wave of his hand, the 9 firebirds turned into 9 rays of burning light that shot toward Wang Lin and Fan Shanlu. "You block it." At the moment of crisis, Wang Lin could no longer hide his strength anymore. He let out a roar and waved his hand. Fan Shanlu didn't hesitate. Borrowing the power of Wang Lin's wave, she leaped forward. Her hands formed a seal, and after coughing out a mouthful of blood, she let out a sad roar. "Great Soul Tao, draw the soul. With my soul as sacrifice, form a soul to cut off the realm." Fan Shanlu's right hand reached out and the blood she had coughed out turned into a mist that entered her right hand. Soon it turned into a blood-red knife. With this knife in hand, Fan Shanlu raised her head and chopped down at the 9 firebirds. The knife collapsed into 9 parts and shot toward the 9 birds to block them. Borrowing this time, Wang Lin reached out with his left hand and the Li Guang Bao appeared. His right hand reached for the string. With a roar, sweat appeared on his forehead and golden light shone in his eyes as he drew the bow. The sovereign's calculation was not wrong. Wang Lin really only had the power to draw the bow twice. However, what the sovereign didn't know was that Wang Lin had another drop of celestial blood. This drop of blood was what Su Ligua and Lu Jinbiao had cheated from the madman, and was eventually taken by Wang Lin. Although this drop of blood didn't contain much power, it was enough to cause the sovereign to miscalculate. With a buzz, the Li Guang Bao was drawn and the arrow appeared. The moment the arrow appeared, Wang Lin let go and the bowstring slammed back, shooting the arrow out. At this moment, the sound of the arrow replaced all sounds in this world. In an instant the arrow flew past Fan Shanlu. It caused her hair to flutter and cut off a few strands. After flashing by her, the arrow collided with the 9 firebirds. Thunderous rumbles echoed and a powerful shockwave spread. Fan Shanlu was hit by the shockwave and coughed out blood. Wang Lin grabbed her and the two left without even looking back to see the result. My cave is 4 million kilometers away. There are formations there that can resist for some time. Fan Shanlu's voice echoed. Wang Lin didn't say a word as he grabbed her hand and they disappeared. When they reappeared, they had moved 2 million kilometers. His face was pale and continued to rush forward. Wang Lin rushed forward and didn't dare to stop at all. But he sent out a divine sense message to Fan Shanlu. Is he the 7-colored celestial sovereign? He is and is not. Before Fan Shanlu finished speaking, a slow voice came from behind them. This old man is certainly the 7-colored celestial sovereign. I originally didn't want to kill you and just wanted to retrieve the bow and arrow. I will give you one last chance to give that bow and arrow to me. In the distance, the 7-colored Taoist slowly walked out. He looked no different than before. That arrow had no effect on him. However, Wang Lin didn't believe him, but this was not the time to observe. If that person wanted to hide the truth, Wang Lin wouldn't be able to tell the truth. Forget it. Since you're looking for death, this lord will help you. The 7-colored Taoist revealed a look of pity. He shook his head and pointed at Wang Lin and Fan Shanlu. With this point, a 7-colored crystal appeared from the tip of his finger. This crystal immediately shot toward Wang Lin and Fan Shanlu. It closed in an instant and then dissipated into 7-colored light that wrapped around them. If you looked from afar, you would see that they were now surrounded by the 7-colored crystal that had disappeared. At this instant the crystal rapidly shrank. Cracking sounds echoed and Wang Lin felt intense pain from his body. Powerful pressure came from all directions to crush his body. Fan Shanlu's face turned pale. During this moment of danger, her right hand formed a seal and the 7-colored print appeared before her again. She spat out blood and it landed on the print. "Sister, help me." Her voice was extremely mournful. At this moment, the stars shook and an exotic aura came out of nowhere. On the immortal astral continent, there was an icy land that was covered in white snow. It was cold enough to freeze all life to death. Even cultivators found it difficult to survive here. In this frozen land, there was a mountain of ice and a woman was sitting on top of this mountain. Her appearance was exactly the same as Fan Shanlu. At this instant, she suddenly opened her eyes and pointed to the spot between her eyebrows. A burst of 7-colored light came from between her eyebrows. At the same time in the cave world, a burst of 7-colored light also appeared between Fan Shanlu's eyebrows. It was as if an external force had entered her body and made it rumble. Borrowing this power, the 7-colored print before her suddenly expanded to more than 1,000, 10,000, even 100,000 feet. It propped up the shrinking crystal that surrounded them, and the crystal suddenly collapsed. The moment it collapsed, the giant 7 print shot out toward the 7-colored Taoist. "I have used all my power, take me away." Fan Shanlu's eyes dimmed and Wang Lin grabbed her. In a flash, they disappeared and reappeared more than 2 million kilometers away. Before him was a giant ship that was the size of a mortal city. It was completely purple and looked majestic. He was surrounded by layers of protection that gave off a powerful pressure. The sail of the ship moved without any wind, and there was a ghostly face on the sail, creating a shocking sight. Wang Lin and Fan Shanlu rushed into the layers of protection. Fan Shanlu's body gave off a glow and none of the protection layers stopped them from entering. The moment Wang Lin landed, he asked Fan Shanlu, "Who the hell is he?" This question had been in his heart for far too long. Fan Shanlu's face was deathly pale, and she didn't respond to Wang Lin's words. She struggled to sit down and place her hands on her knees. She closed her eyes and began cultivating. 7-colored light flickered from her body, and the 7-colored light between her eyebrows became extremely bright. Eventually, a faint vortex appeared between her eyebrows. Not only did 7-colored light come out from the vortex, it was accompanied by bursts of cold energy. The moment the cold energy appeared in this large ship, the deck froze and white mist scattered. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed and he retreated a few steps. However, just at this moment, Fan Shanlu's face suddenly turned red and she coughed out a mouthful of blood. The blood turned into drops of ice and scattered across the deck. Shortly after, the vortex between her eyebrows suddenly enlarged and started rotating rapidly. Wang Lin's eyes shined, and he saw a face suddenly appear inside the vortex. This face was almost identical to Fan Shanlu's, an extremely beautiful and alluring face. The moment this face appeared, Fan Shanlu revealed a painful expression and the veins on her face swelled, her expression fierce. Her eyes opened and the vortex between her eyebrows collapsed. The vortex returned back into her head, and the beautiful face disappeared with it. A miserable scream came from Fan Shanlu and she coughed out blood. Her hands reformed the seals and she began cultivating again. When Wang Lin saw all of this, his expression became extremely serious. He seemed to have seen through some stuff but wasn't sure. While pondering, Wang Lin's divine sense spread out and surrounded the entire ship. Soon the entire ship appeared in his mind. This ship was very large, and there were many restrictions that even Wang Lin felt were mysterious. As his divine sense spread out, he was shocked to find that almost the entire ship was made of restrictions. Even the deck below his feet was made of restrictions. It could be said that this ship was a giant restriction formation. The layers of protection were created by the ship itself. They formed fine, overlapping layers and it would be very difficult to break them. Wang Lin vaguely noticed the core of this formation as his divine sense spread out. It was the ghostly-faced sail on the ship. The ghostly face seemed to be alive, and its eyes were locked onto Wang Lin. Although it was completely silent, when Wang Lin was stared at by the ghostly face, he seemed to hear hideous cries and roars in his mind. This sound penetrated his mind and caused his expression to change. He couldn't help but retreat a few steps. Time restriction, life and death restriction, ancient soul restriction, annihilation restriction. Not only does this ship have the 4 ancient restrictions, but there are also many I have never seen before. If I have the time to master all these restrictions and research them, I could reach small completion in my restriction essence. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a strange light. His restriction knowledge was extraordinary, but unfortunately, most of the restrictions in this cave world were incomplete. If he tried to deduce them by force, not only would it waste a lot of time, it might be wasted effort as well. However, now it was different. The restrictions on this ship opened a new path for Wang Lin. If he could gain enlightenment and deduce them all, there might be a chance for the restriction essence to appear. Shortly after Wang Lin observed the restrictions here, a bright, 7-colored light appeared outside the ship and lit up this area. The 7-colored Taoist slowly walked over. This ship is somewhat familiar. The 7-colored Taoist looked at the ship with reminiscence in his mind. However, no matter how much he tried, he couldn't remember where he had seen this ship before. I didn't obtain the memory, so I can't remember a lot of things. The 7-colored Taoist pondered for a moment and shook his head. He then waved his right hand. Thunderous rumbles suddenly echoed. As the deck on the ship trembled violently, a muffled rumble came from outside. Wang Lin turned to look out through the protective layers. He saw that inside the 7-colored light was the calm 7-colored Taoist, who looked as if the world was between his fingers. Thunderous rumbles echoed once more, and as the deck trembled, the outermost layer of protection collapsed. The impact caused the giant ship to be pushed back a few hundred feet. Although this ship's restrictions are powerful, only 20% of them are activated. With just 20%, I fear it won't be able to stop the 7-colored Taoist. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. It was a moment of life and death. The 7-colored Taoist might not kill him for some reason, but he was going to take away the Li Guang bow and arrow. Wang Lin could not hand over the Li Guang bow. It had great use for him. It was the only thing that could allow him to suppress all the arcane void cultivators. Most importantly, he wouldn't allow his life to be in the hands of others. He didn't want his life to be controlled with just a thought. Even if he was at full power, this soul search ship could stop him for dozens of hours. Just at this moment, a cold voice came from behind Wang Lin. Fan Shanlu slowly opened her eyes. Even though less than 30% of the restrictions are activated, he is also not the same as back then. Can stop him. For 3 days, Fan Shanlu spoke coldly, and her gaze contained a hint of coldness as she looked at the 7-colored Taoist outside. There was a complicated sense of hatred in her eyes. Wang Lin turned around to look at the woman, and after a long time he suddenly said, You're not Fan Shanlu." The woman withdrew her gaze from outside the boat and looked at Wang Lin. A moment later, a hint of admiration appeared in her eyes and she nodded. "You're indeed worthy of someone chosen by my little sister to work with. I'm indeed not Fan Shanlu. I'm her big sister Fan Shanmeng." Wang Lin's eyes narrowed and he carefully looked at her, but he didn't speak. "You should know my identity from my little sister. I'm the seven-colored celestial sovereign's Tao partner." As she spoke, she raised her right hand and formed a seal. With a wave, seven-colored light came from her hand and flew toward the barrier outside. After it fused with the barrier, a powerful aura came from the ship and the barrier became even stronger. The rumbles from outside the barrier were almost completely blocked out, and the sounds that reached their ears were barely detectable. "Since you are cooperating with me and my sister, I won't keep any secrets from you." Back then, 2 of the 9 sons, the Grand Emperor Dao Yi and the ancient country's Grand Emperor Xian Luo, appeared near our 7 Dao sect. Their powers were heavenly, and they were fighting for a storage fragment that had somehow flew out from the immemorial god domain. Normally, 7-colored and I could not participate in this matter and could not get any benefits, but in the end, fortune favored us. Even now, I still don't understand how Dao Yi or Xian Luo didn't notice that a piece was missing, even if the storage fragment was broken. That missing piece landed in 7-colored's hand, and it was then that I saw his true heart. In order to cover up the aura, I gave up all my cultivation to fully suppress it and wished to quickly return to the 7 Dao sect. However, during the trip back, he backstabbed me. I was caught off guard and he took my full cultivation to suppress the fragment. He then destroyed my soul. He wanted to kill me because he was afraid the news would spread. He also needed to use my cultivation to open the fragment. After all, the fragment came from the immemorial god domain, so it would be very difficult to open. However, I didn't die. I'm a core disciple of the Great Soul sect, so a part of my soul had been left with my teacher. Teacher used the Great Reincarnation spell and allowed me to be quickly reborn. There were people inside the 7 Dao sect that listened to me, especially my little sister. I borrowed my teacher's spell to tell my little sister everything, and thus the war began. The woman slowly talked about the past. I knew that he must have opened the fragment and obtained what was inside. I also knew that he had lured Yemo inside and sealed the 7 Dao sect. But how could I let him succeed? I told the news to Lian Daofei, who had always coveted my beauty, and lured him to the 7 Dao sect. With my sister's connection, most of his concubines defected and caused the 7 Dao sect disciples to split. This is how the inner and outer realms formed. At this point, the woman looked at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged, and he didn't release any fluctuations. He had speculated on most of this, and even now he only believed some of her words. There were many parts that were skimmed over, and although what she was saying sounded complete, there were still some issues. After silently pondering for a moment, Wang Lin slowly said, "What kind of place is the immemorial god domain?" There is a legend in the immortal astral continent stating that the immemorial god domain will open 9 times. Each time it opens, the person who obtains the final fortune will become a Grand Emperor. Up until now it has opened 9 times and there are indeed 9 suns. Perhaps the 10th sun will appear when it opens for the 10th time. As for what the immemorial god domain is, I don't know what it is either. You said that this 7-colored is different from the 7-colored of the past. I need an answer to this. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he looked at the blurry figure smashing up the protection around the ship. The woman pondered a bit and suddenly said, "He is not complete. I don't know how he got Li Guang to help him kill Yemo, but I know that after I told Lian Daofei how to break into the cave, a fierce battle occurred. This battle happened shortly after Yemo died. 7-colored then went into closed-door cultivation due to his injuries and was studying something he got from that fragment. It wasn't until later that I learned that there was a heavenly Tao inside that fragment. I didn't see that battle myself. Everything is from my little sister's memory. Lian Daofei was extremely powerful. He single-handedly battled against the 4 generals and many 7 Dao sect disciples. With overwhelming strength, he seriously injured them all. It was also at this time that my little sister and several concubines rebelled and attacked with Lian Daofei. Just at the most chaotic moment, Lian Daofei flew past everyone and went toward where 7-colored was in closed-door cultivation. This forced Seven Colored to come out and battle him. That battle was extremely fierce. Seven Colored was already injured, so he was no match. He summoned the heavenly Tao stored in the caved world, and used its devouring ability to confront Lian Daofei. In the end, Lian Daofei was seriously injured and was devoured by the heavenly Tao, leaving his whereabouts unknown. However, due to his immortal celestial body, he can't die, so he should still be in this cave world. However, the heavenly Tao was also seriously injured and died. Countless drops of its blood scattered across the world and eventually dissipated. However, the fact that lives continue to be born in this cave world means that the heavenly Tao didn't die. Seven Colored's body collapsed and divided into three main souls. One of them contained all his spells and Tao spells, becoming the him that is outside this ship right now. Another contained his comprehension and essences. It escaped after the great battle and exists inside the inner realm. The last soul contained all of Seven Colored's memories, including how to summon the heavenly Tao and where he hid the secret he obtained from that fragment. This last soul had no essences or spells, and even now no one knows where it is. He may be a cultivator, he may be immortal, he may be some fierce beast. Over countless reincarnation cycles, perhaps even he has forgotten who he was, his memory still in slumber. The soul that inherited all the spells is the Seven Colored Taoist outside. He is the most powerful one, and he has forced several of the concubines to work for him. He even took Lian Daofei's palm print servant boy to work under him before settling in the outer realm. He has been looking for the third soul for all these years. He gradually obtained his own will. Once he finds the third soul and devours it and then devours the second soul that inherited the essences, he will become the new Seven Colored. Similarly, the second soul in the inner realm is also looking for the third soul. Whichever one of them obtains the third soul first will become the one in charge. Because the third soul contains the memories, it is impossible for them to devour each other and fuse without it. That's why the Seven Colored Taoist and the second soul still can't devour each other. Not only them, but even the other fragments that scattered when Seven Colored scattered can't devour each other either. When Seven Colored died, aside from the three main souls, there were 7 fragments. These 7 fragments changed identities over countless reincarnations, but their souls belonged to Seven Colored. The Seven Colored Taoist and the second soul completely ignored them. Even if they did find them, they can't be devoured, so they just let them cultivate on their own. Once they find the third soul and devour the other, the remaining 7 fragments will return to them and form the complete Seven Colored Celestial Sovereign. This is the whole secret of this cave world. A huge wave was set off in Wang Lin's heart. Earlier, Wang Lin could keep calm when this woman talked about the matter about the immortal astral continent, but after hearing everything else, he began to take deep breaths. He retreated a few steps and his expression rapidly changed. He finally knew what the third one was. He finally knew that the Seven Colored Taoist was different from the statue he had obtained. He finally knew what the woman in silver in his storage space meant when she said she hadn't opened the door. The door was very likely the door to the cave. It wasn't that someone had opened the door, but the woman before him had told the madman how to open the door. There might be some other things that didn't match up, but Wang Lin hadn't seen it himself, so he could only create his own images based on what the woman had said. Perhaps the facts might be slightly different, but this was likely the truth of what had happened. 3 souls, 7 fragments. So it turns out there are 3 souls and 7 fragments. The sovereign said that old Ghost John should have died when they met at the Cloud Sea. The sovereign's shock doesn't seem to be fake. Even he didn't know. Also, in the Seven Colored realm in the Brilliant Void, when I went to save Qing Shui, the Seven Colored Taoist appeared. He seemed to admire old Ghost John. He said that old Ghost John was different. Could it be that old Ghost John is the second soul? Only then would he be qualified to confront the Seven Colored Taoist. Or it can be said that there is another soul inside old Ghost John, and that is the second soul. It must be like this. The war between inner and outer realms continued due to old Ghost John and the Seven Colored Taoist. They were trying to find the third soul under the endless slaughter. Then who is the third soul? Wang Lin's mind trembled. This news ripped open all the fog in his mind and allowed him to see the truth. There are also the 7 fragments. Back in the Seven Colored realm in the Brilliant Void, I noticed that the seven-colored Taoist looked at Xianxia as if he was looking at himself. I found it strange at the time, but I couldn't get the answer. However, now the answer seems obvious. Senior brother Xianxia is one of the seven-colored celestial sovereign's 7 fragments. No wonder his life is miserable. No wonder he could obtain the slaughter essence. No wonder he was so powerful as soon as he entered the 3rd step. Among the 7, the only one I know is Xianxia. As for the other 6, who are they? Am I Wang Lin one as well? Wang Lin silently pondered and coldness appeared in his eyes. My goal is to kill seven-colored. Only by killing him can I eliminate my hatred for him. Our purpose is the same, it will be a win for both of us. I can ask teacher to welcome you to the immortal astral continent to reduce the penalty. I don't want the 7 Dao sect. Once seven-colored is dead, everything belongs to you. As for the other people in the cave world, they can't leave here. They can't survive the penalty of leaving. Not even my teacher can help with this. However, I still have another method. Although they can't enter the immortal astral continent normally, they can still reincarnate there. By using the reincarnation method, their souls can follow you to the immortal astral continent, and once their memories awaken, you can find them. This is the best method I can think of. Wang Lin silently pondered for a long time. He looked up at the woman while pondering. Even if we cooperate with the power of the seven-colored Taoist and old ghost John, we are no match. How do we kill them? Hearing Wang Lin's words, the woman laughed. It has to be said that the woman was extremely beautiful. When she laughed, she was like a flower blooming and would make one's heart pound. I have 2 methods of killing seven-colored. Because of the countless seals on the cave and the destruction left on the cave during the Great War, I'm unable to come in person. I can only borrow my little sister's body and gather a bit of my origin soul here. However, if you can lure the seven-colored Taoist or the second soul to the core of the cave, where the door to the cave is, then I can gather more of my origin soul. Then I can kill them with my own strength. That is the first method. This method is not perfect, but I still have a second method. The key is the 3rd soul. I'll teach you a spell, and if you can find the 3rd soul, you can use this spell to devour it and completely erase its existence. From then on, you will be the 3rd soul. I'll help you devour the seven-colored Taoist and the second soul. You will absorb the remaining 7 fragments, and from that moment on, you will be seven-colored. My little sister and I can stay with you. She can be your concubine and I can be your Tao partner. Then everything will return back to its original trajectory. If you have other women, they can also become your concubines. Even on the immortal astral continent, if you take fancy to any female cultivator, I can capture them for you and we can cultivate together. Seven-colored was like that back then. I helped him capture a lot of female cultivators. Aside from my little sister, I helped him find most of his 8 concubines. With the help of my teacher, once we pair cultivate, our souls will fuse and our cultivation levels will increase. With the treasure you obtain from that fragment from the immemorial gold domain, we can have free reign on the immortal astral continent. It is much better than being stuck in a mere cave world. The woman smiled and her words slowly drifted toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin calmed his heart and looked at the woman. For some reason, he thought of something he had encountered a long time ago. That matter had left a profound feeling on Wang Lin. Although it had been more than 1,000 years, he still couldn't forget it. In the demon spirit land, Wang Lin had met the sovereign's daughter, the holy ancestor of the Tattoo clan. She was extremely miserable, her eyes were dug out, and her whole body was suppressed in Qing Lin's cave. Her resentment was monstrous. This woman's resentment toward Qing Lin was very similar to that of the woman before him. That woman's words were extremely mournful, and Wang Lin had almost believed her. However, he eventually heard what had happened personally from Qing Lin, and it confused him. He didn't know who was right in this matter. We can talk about this matter later. Right now, the important matter is how do we avoid the pursuit of the seven-colored Taoist outside. The moment Wang Lin heard her words, he sneered in his heart. However, he was cunning and wouldn't refuse her outright. After all, their initial cooperation of killing seven-colored benefited everyone. This matter is not difficult. Once we exchange oath of blood that we will cooperate, then I'll manipulate this ship to safely send you out. The woman smiled. Oath of blood. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed and he suddenly understood. Her leading him here and saying those words, there was obviously a deeper meaning. This matter is not urgent. Where is the altar you talked about back then? When Fan Shanming heard Wang Lin's words, her eyes shined. She smiled, but just as she was about to speak, the ship shook violently. This tremble came from outside like a violent wind. This caused the ship to tremble, and a loud rumble echoed inside. The ship was pushed back several hundred kilometers. This suddenly change caused Fan Shanming's expression to change, and she looked outside the ship. Wang Lin leaped up and floated 3 inches off the deck as he drifted with the boat. His eyes shined as he looked outside. Outside the Soul Devil ship, the 7-colored Taoist continued to wave his hand, and every wave created a large amount of wind. The wind collided with the protective barrier around the ship, causing it to collapse layer by layer. Soon a small portion was missing. It's fine. He can't open the Soul Devil ship without several days of time. Fan Shanming let out a cold snort as she withdrew her gaze from outside. She looked at Wang Lin and began talking again. The altar you are talking about is something my little sister obtained by accident. It contains the power of the Ancient One inside, but she can't break it with her cultivation, and there is no need to break it. However, it is different for you. If you can break the protection on the altar and gain its inheritance, your cultivation level will increase greatly. This altar is in the deepest part of the Soul Devil ship. Are you going now? However, you will only have 3 days. In these 3 days, I can control the Soul Devil ship and escape from the 7-colored Taoist, but at most it will only be 3 days. 3 days is not enough. Wang Lin frowned, and at this moment the ship shook once again. It seemed the 7-colored Taoist had begun attacking with even stronger spells, and the ship seemed like it was on the verge of collapsing. Wang Lin didn't reveal what he was thinking as he slowly said, "There's no need to rush with the Oath of Blood. I'm very interested in your Soul Devil ship. 3 days should be enough for me to study it." "You want to study the restrictions on this ship?" Fan Shanming was startled. Whether it was her or her sister, they didn't know of Wang Lin's talent for restrictions. When she heard Wang Lin's words, she revealed a strange expression. After a long time she spoke. "This Soul Devil ship is a treasure of my great soul sect. Although it is not top-ranked, it is still a mid-ranked treasure. Forget you, not even I have fully understood it. Fellow cultivator Wang, I recommend you use these 3 days to try the altar. If you can absorb the power inside, your cultivation level will surely increase." Fan Shanming's words were gentle, but her meaning was obvious. She didn't think Wang Lin was qualified to study this ship, and even thought Wang Lin's words were extremely absurd. This child is only a mere ant cultivator of the cave world, yet he wants to study a treasure of my great soul sect? It is simply ridiculous. He's simply overestimating himself. Oh, could it be that fellow cultivator is afraid that I'll take over the ship once I understand the restrictions? Wang Lin revealed a smile that wasn't a smile as he looked at Fan Shanming. Wang Lin was well aware of what she was thinking. In his life, he had been able to clearly see through everyone other than the All-Seer. The 2 sisters clearly knew that the 7-colored Taoist would end up chasing after them. After delaying for a bit to wait for the 7-colored Taoist to catch up, they used him to lure Wang Lin to this Soul Devil ship. This ship was a hidden threat, and the 7-colored Taoist was an open threat. Although they hadn't threatened him on the surface, this was more effective than any kind of threat. In this situation, it seemed Wang Lin could only listen to their suggestion and exchange the Oath of Blood. It felt like there was no other way out of this situation. As a result, Wang Lin would be in a completely passive situation, with the other side holding the initiative. In truth, it was indeed as Wang Lin had thought. These 2 sisters indeed had such a plan. Perhaps if it was anyone beside Wang Lin, they could only listen to avoid the danger for now. However, with Wang Lin's wisdom, he wouldn't easily believe their words. He still liked to take matters into his own hands, to be a master of his own life. At this moment, the Soul Devil ship was being controlled by the sisters. Even if Wang Lin went to the altar, everything would be under their control. To exaggerate it a bit, Wang Lin felt no sense of security while being in someone else's treasure. Also, how could Wang Lin give up so easily? He was extremely cunning and his words contained a hidden meaning. If he could really understand the Soul Devil ship and take control of it, Not only would the issue of the seven-colored Taoist be resolved, but he would also escape the trap the sisters had set. Fan Xiaoming's expression stiffened for a moment, but it soon returned to normal. She revealed a smile and spoke softly. "Fellow cultivator Wang is funny. Since you're confident you can study this ship, this little one will wait on the side." Although she said this, she sneered in her heart. She didn't believe Wang Lin was qualified. "Fellow cultivator seems a bit unhappy, but you can relax. Even if I comprehend all the restrictions and take control, I won't keep it. I will return it to you." Wang Lin spoke slowly while maintaining a smile that wasn't a smile. Fan Xiaoming calmly looked at Wang Lin and smiled. "Fellow cultivator is that confident? That's fine as well. If you're that confident in understanding the restrictions on this ship, then there is no problem in gifting this ship to you. However, if you can't, then let's not waste any more time. Let us exchange the oath of blood and I'll send you to safety." "No problem, let me look at it first. If I can't succeed, then I'll naturally give up." Wang Lin was waiting for this. He looked calm and didn't even look at Fan Xiaoming. He sat down and his divine sense slowly reached out and he began studying the deck. There was a hidden sense of coldness in Fan Xiaoming's eyes. She had to obtain Wang Lin's oath of blood. With it, she could get her teacher to help her and use a strange spell which she was confident could turn Wang Lin into her puppet. He would be an important piece to killing the seven-colored celestial sovereign. Although he is extremely cautious, I don't believe he can take control of the Soul Devil ship. He may have some understanding of restrictions, but he is, after all, merely an ant of the cave world. How could an ant like him comprehend the restrictions from the immortal astral continent? This matter is simply ridiculous. I want to see how he tries to study them. After he fails, if he still won't give me his blood of oath, I have other ways of dealing with him. There was coldness hidden in Fan Xiaoming's eyes, but she revealed a gentle smile on the surface as she looked at Wang Lin. As Wang Lin's divine sense spread out, the ancient god stars between his eyebrows appeared, forming a vortex. The demon and devil stars in his left and right eyes also appeared. The power of the three ancient clans fused to form Ancient One power. A shadow of the Ancient One suddenly appeared around Wang Lin. The ancient shadow immediately shrouded Wang Lin and also sat there. If you looked from afar, it was a shocking sight. The Ancient One shadow had its size changed. The one around Wang Lin now was only a few 100 feet tall. However, it still looked like a small hill and completely protected Wang Lin. This scene caused Fan Xiaoming to frown. This person is a bit too careful. Only with the ancient power protecting his entire body did Wang Lin relax, and his divine sense calmly extended into the deck. Just as his divine sense entered, a rejection force came from the deck, preventing his divine sense from going further. This invisible force was formed by the restriction of the deck. It allowed Wang Lin to look at it from the outside but not see the internal structure of the deck. Fan Xiaoming sneered in her heart. This soul-searching ship was her great soul sex treasure, so she understood it well. Without a profound understanding of restrictions, just the rejection force is enough. Just as she was thinking this in her mind, she was startled and stared at Wang Lin. Wang Lin waved his right hand inside the Ancient One shadow. Tens, hundreds, thousands. In the blink of an eye, nearly 1 million handprints appeared before him. These restriction handprints overlapped and gave off a ghostly flow. In an instant, the 1 million handprints fused into one and Wang Lin's hand hit the deck. This hit caused the deck to tremble, and even the entire ship trembled a few times. A ripple spread from Wang Lin's hand and swept past Fan Xiaoming. It spread across nearly 30% of the deck. After the ripple spread, the deck was different in Wang Lin's eyes. It was as if the veil covering the source had been removed. This ship didn't have a deck at all. It was formed by restrictions that were condensed together. Those restrictions were all completely different and were densely packed together. They gave off a ghostly light. He broke the protection on the restrictions on the deck. He doesn't just simply know some restrictions, his mastery of restrictions is extremely high. Fan Xiaoming took a deep breath and her gaze toward Wang Lin immediately changed. No wonder he is so confident, but so what if his restriction mastery is extraordinary? The restrictions that exist in this cave world are merely a part of those that exist in the immortal astral continent. In just 3 short days he could never take full control. Fan Xiaoming silently pondered and sneered. Wang Lin's expression remained calm, and he pointed at one of the restrictions. Deduction began to flash through his eyes. This deck is only the perimeter of this ship, but it contains tens of thousands of restrictions. 3 days of time is indeed a bit hasty. Wang Lin calmed himself down and seemed to isolate himself from the sounds coming from outside. He seemed to immerse himself on the restriction. Just at this moment, it seemed as if there was a strange wind that blew by, causing the sail on the ship to flutter. The ghostly face on the sail revealed a demonic glow. This ghostly face seemed to be staring at Wang Lin and seemed to reveal a faint yet strange smile. It was as if it was alive. Wang Lin frowned and felt unease in his heart, making him unable to calm down. He looked up at the sail and met its gaze. A moment later, Wang Lin gradually calmed down. He lowered his head and immersed himself in the restrictions. The restrictions below Wang Lin gradually shined and spread outward. Ripples echoed across the entire deck and went even further away. Among the 4 great restrictions, I know the annihilation restriction the best. I'm decent with the life and death restriction and the time restriction. I have the least experience with the ancient soul restriction, as I have only seen that turtle beast in the fallen land use it. However, many of the restrictions on the deck are ancient soul restrictions. Wang Lin continued to deduce as he pondered. His right hand formed a restriction seal. This seal was a miniature ancient soul restriction. A faint roar came from inside and Wang Lin could vaguely see a huge python within. The python gave off a powerful killing intent and continued to roar at Wang Lin. It was as if it wanted to rush out from the restriction and devour Wang Lin. Time slowly passed. In the blink of an eye, 3 hours had gone by. The thunderous rumbles outside continued on violently, and faint 7-colored light seemed to penetrate through the barrier, shining on the deck. Fan Xiaoming's eyes gradually became colder. As she stared at Wang Lin, the shock from before had gradually subsided. She could see that Wang Lin had entered a bottleneck, as he hadn't moved for 3 hours. How can this soul devil ship be so easy? Earlier, when he opened the restriction protecting the deck, it was already his limit. It is futile to try to unravel the mysteries of this ship. Wang Lin, you're too arrogant. Fang Shanming remained calm and didn't reveal any of the contempt in her heart. Fellow cultivator Wang Lin, it has been 3 hours. If you go to the altar now, there might still be time. Feng Shaming's words echoed with a hint of worry. Wang Lin acted as if he hadn't heard it. His finger still touched the restriction and the deduction in his eyes became even faster. Ancient soul restriction. With the soul as the core, fuse it into the restriction so that it could be ever-changing like a living being. The stronger the soul, the stronger the seal. This restriction is not hard. At the 5th hour, Wang Lin suddenly closed his eyes and sharply pointed at the restriction. The restriction suddenly collapsed and the phantom of a python appeared. However, before it could move, Wang Lin grabbed it and crushed it. However, it didn't dissipate. Wang Lin formed a seal and the black gas turned back into a restriction. It flew back to its original location. This is the first one. Wang Lin opened his eyes and looked at the restriction he had studied and taken full control of. His gaze was calm and he looked at Fan Shanming. No rush, there is still enough time. Fang Shanming frowned. Although Wang Lin had broken one restriction, this deck contained an unimaginable amount of restrictions. This was merely the periphery. There were still the inner restrictions. 5 hours to break one. At this speed, I fear fellow cultivator could only break a dozen or so in 3 days. You. Just as Fan Shanming spoke, popping sound echoed around Wang Lin. She was gobsmacked as she watched 9 restrictions collapse with a wave of Wang Lin's hand. They all collapsed into black gas and then reformed back into restrictions that returned to their original positions. This. Fan Shanming took a deep breath. However, before she could finish inhaling, her eyes widened and was filled with disbelief. Wang Lin waved his right hand again and thunderous rumbles echoed. The restrictions that formed the deck all collapsed. Dozens, hundreds, thousands, and even tens of thousands of restrictions all collapsed into black gas, forming a storm. After just a few short breaths, there were no restrictions remaining within a few thousand feet of Wang Lin. The storm eventually split back into restrictions and returned to their original positions. Fan Shanming's shock had just begun. I have embarrassed myself before fellow cultivator. Wang Lin revealed a faint smile. Fan Shanming took a deep breath and forced out a smile. She nodded. Fellow cultivators' comprehension of restrictions is indeed extraordinary. However, there are tens of millions of restrictions on this deck, and fellow cultivator has only comprehended 1% of them. It is rare, but... Wang Lin raised his right hand with the annihilation restriction in his hand, and his eyes lit up. This caused Fan Shanmeng to stop talking. Wang Lin waved his hand and the annihilation restriction spread across the deck. Thunderous rumbles echoed and all the annihilation restrictions on this deck trembled and collapsed. Out of the tens of millions of restrictions here, millions were annihilation restrictions. They all collapsed and the Soul Devil ship trembled violently. At the same time, the life and death restriction and the time restriction appeared in Wang Lin's right hand. He swept across the entire deck, and in less than 15 minutes countless restrictions collapsed. Black gas filled the air. The black gas filled the area. Even the eyes of the seven-colored Taoist outside narrowed, and he took a closer look. There was no need to even talk about Fan Shanmeng, who had her vision blocked by the black gas. She stared at all of this and her mind went blank. 5 hours. How can this be? Although the restrictions on the deck are only the outer layer, it is impossible for it to be completely solved in just 5 hours. He also didn't simply just resolve them, he completely took control. This. Thunderous rumbles echoed as the black gas all dissipated and turned back to restrictions. Now more than half of the tens of millions of restrictions on the deck belonged to Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes shined brightly. He raised his right hand and 4 restrictions floated over his palm. These 4 restrictions were all different. They were the 4 great restrictions. Breaking the restrictions on the deck was not difficult for Wang Lin, but he wanted to learn the ancient soul restriction. Wang Lin had spent those 5 hours studying only one restriction, and comprehending that restriction was the same as comprehending the ancient soul restriction. After all, Wang Lin wasn't ignorant about the ancient soul restriction, as he had studied the ancient soul restriction he had obtained from the fallen land. However, although it looked complete, it still had defects. It was those defects that obstructed his enlightenment. However, the ancient soul restriction on the deck was different, it was complete. The current Wang Lin was no longer the youth on the restriction mountain who had only studied restrictions for a few years. The current Wang Lin was a mid-stage spirit void cultivator, and with his comprehension and understanding of restrictions, 5 hours was enough to see through everything. Wang Lin stood up and waved his hand. Thunderous rumbles echoed and the remaining restrictions on the deck all collapsed. These included ancient soul restrictions and other mysterious restrictions Wang Lin had never seen before. He didn't have time to comprehend all those restrictions he had never seen before. He only looked at them briefly and memorized them before destroying them by force. This method might make the strength of the restrictions on the deck to become weaker, but it would allow Wang Lin to create an opening on the Soul Devil ship in a short period of time. After thunderous rumbles echoed, Wang Lin took control of all the restrictions on the deck before Fan Shanmeng's shocked gaze. Wang Lin was now the owner of the deck. His eyes revealed a strange light as he looked at Fan Shanmeng. This ship has 9 layers. This deck is the first layer, and there are 8 more below. Fellow cultivator, you said that if I break the restrictions on this ship, you will gift it to me. Fan Shanmeng's expression turned pale. When the first layer of the Soul Devil ship was broken, she found that her control over the ship had been taken away. Now it was as if this treasure had 2 owners. She could have never imagined such a shocking change could occur in just 5 hours. Seeing that she didn't respond, Wang Lin shook his head with a smile. His body flickered and disappeared. When he reappeared, he was on the second layer of the Soul Devil ship. Staring at where Wang Lin disappeared, there was a hint of coldness in Fan Shanmeng's eyes. So what if he broke through one layer? The restrictions on the ship become even more difficult the deeper one goes. I don't believe a mere ant cultivator like him could control this Devil Soul ship. Time passed. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. In the blink of an eye, it had been 7 hours. A full day of time passed by in the blink of an eye. The 7-colored light outside had become even more glaring, and the Soul Devil boat shook even more intensely. A majority of the outer barrier had been broken by the 7-colored Taoist. Just as the 7th hour passed, a shocking aura came from the second layer. The Soul Devil ship trembled violently. Impossible! Fan Shanmeng stood up. The shock in her eyes could not be hidden by any light. A portion of her control over the ship had been taken. Before, she was unable to come here with her body, and could only use 30% of the ship's power. Now that Wang Lin had taken even more control away, she only had a bit more control than him. Once Wang Lin broke the third layer of restrictions, this ship would be completely under his control. This was, the guest becomes the host. There was coldness in Fan Shanming's eyes and her eyes lit up. She pointed outside at the protective layers of the ship and they suddenly dimmed. At this instant, Fan Shanming sank through the first deck and entered the second layer. The moment she entered, the seven-colored light shrouded the entire Soul Devil ship. The seven-colored Taoist landed on the deck. The moment the seven-colored Taoist landed, Wang Lin, who was on the third layer, suddenly opened his eyes and looked up. He was calm and a golden light flashed in his eyes. She indeed did this. Wang Lin sneered. After Fan Shanming's scheme had been broken by him, and the hidden danger could no longer be a threat, she would naturally choose to borrow seven-colored Taoist power to suppress him. At this moment, the first deck the seven-colored Taoist was on was under Wang Lin's control. As a result, they would indirectly face each other. He had to allocate some effort to control the first deck to prevent the seven-colored Taoist from entering. Playing with fire. I can as well. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. His hands formed a seal and then he waved it. The restrictions on the first deck suddenly rumbled and all the restrictions stopped moving. They completely calmed down. The moment the restrictions on the first deck calmed down, the seven-colored light penetrated the first layer with a bang. The seven-colored Taoist laughed as he entered the second layer without any effort. At this moment, Fan Shanming had already entered the third layer, and her expression changed greatly. She became aware of Wang Lin's action, and she immediately arrived next to him. What are you doing? Could it be that you want to die? Even if we join forces, we are no match for the first soul. You actually opened the first layer to let him in. There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes and he calmly said, if you continue to be noisy, I'll open the second layer and let him come down. You! Fan Shanming stared at Wang Lin and killing intent appeared in her eyes. Since you can open the barrier around the ship and save him all this effort, why can't I open the first layer and allow him to head straight to the second layer? There is no deep hatred between me and him. If he wants the Li Guang Bao, then I'll just give it to him, but you're not the same. If you want to remain safe, then shut up for me. Wang Lin's voice rumbled, causing Fan Shanming's face to immediately turn pale. Not only will you shut up, but stop making small moves. If you continue to be stubborn, then don't blame me for opening the second layer and allowing the seven-colored Taoist to come down here. Wang Lin coldly looked at her. His gaze caused a sense of chilliness to appear in Fan Shanming's heart. She suddenly realized that Wang Lin was actually this terrifying and cunning. He took back the initiative that was in my hands one step at a time until he gained the advantage. I'm now being suppressed by him. This person's cunning is far too deep. Fan Shanming silently pondered. She felt deep dread toward this cave world cultivator she originally held contempt for. To be this cunning at this age. If he was someone on the immortal astral continent, he would certainly be famous. Wang Lin looked at Fan Shanming for a moment and then withdrew his gaze. At this moment, the rumbles from the second layer rang out loudly. The second layer flashed seven-colored light to resist, but it seemed it wouldn't last long before collapsing. If you don't want to die, then you should do your best to buy me time to break open the third layer. I know you still have some ace to keep yourself safe. However, you and I hold equal control over this ship right now. If I don't cooperate, you can't leave. Wang Lin spoke slowly and then closed his eyes. The Ancient One shadow appeared around him, and he immersed himself in studying the restrictions on the third layer. Fan Shanming's expression was extremely gloomy. She stared at Wang Lin for a long time and then slowly scratched her head. She felt fear in her heart toward what Wang Lin had said, as everything he had said was true. She indeed had her last resort, and it was because of this that she was very calm when she borrowed the seven-colored Taoist power to suppress Wang Lin. However, she didn't think that Wang Lin could take control of two layers of the ship and match her in terms of control. Now if she wanted to use her ace, she did need Wang Lin's cooperation. Fan Shanming clenched her teeth and said, "What is your plan? Even if I hold him off, I can't buy enough time for you to break the remaining layers in time. If you give up control now, we can still leave. If you remain stubborn, then we will really die. Just as she finished speaking, a thunderous rumble echoed. The deck above began to collapse on a wide scale. About 30% of the restrictions were destroyed. I need 3 hours. Wang Lin opened his eyes and looked at Fan Shanmeng. You! Fan Shanmeng revealed an angry smile, and a moment later, she fiercely turned around. Her hands formed a seal and 7-colored light came from the second layer. Wang Lin calmed his heart. He originally wouldn't treat these two sisters like this, but they had schemed against him first. Wang Lin had always followed the rules of not offending others if they didn't offend him. Now that he held the initiative, he naturally wouldn't easily let it go. Also, the restrictions here had been of great use to him. After breaking through 2 layers, Wang Lin's 4 great restrictions had reached completion. He only needed a bit more to fuse them to create an essence. A majority of the restrictions on the 3rd layer were ones Wang Lin had not seen before. As he studied them, his understanding of restrictions increased by leaps and bounds. Time slowly passed. The thunderous rumbles from the 2nd layer continued to echo. Cracking sounds spread and the 2nd layer completely collapsed. Fan Shaming's body trembled and she coughed out blood. After she took a few steps back, the 7-colored light quickly spread from the collapsed 2nd layer. Just at this moment, Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes. His hands formed a seal and he waved upward. All the restrictions on the 3rd layer formed a net and flew up. Shortly after, Wang Lin's body sank down from the 3rd layer to the 4th layer. The moment he entered the 4th layer, Fan Shanmeng followed. There was a large amount of fog in the 4th layer of the Soul Devil ship. This fog hindered one's divine sense and vision. He is breaking through the 2nd layer. Even if I attempt to stop him, stalling him for 2 hours is the limit. Even if you comprehend the 3rd layer, he will only need 1 hour to break it. Wang Lin, what exactly do you want? I admit I schemed against you, but it was for our common purpose. Although you will hand your oath of blood to me, I'll also hand my oath of blood to you. It's not like I could harm you. Now that we have reached this point, we should exchange our oaths of blood, and you should give up your control of the ship. Perhaps that way we will have a fighting chance. Fan Shanmeng looked anxious and looked at Wang Lin, who was on the 4th layer. Wang Lin also looked at Fan Shanmeng, and after a long time he suddenly laughed. You're still trying to lie to me at this moment. I lied to you? Fan Shanmeng's eyes revealed pain. She looked up at the 3rd layer above and a thin crack appeared. Wang Lin let out a sigh. He didn't seem to care about the cracks that had appeared above him. He looked at her and slowly said, You are not Fan Shanmeng. What is your meaning? Her expression suddenly became calm as she stared at Wang Lin. You're Fan Shanlu. In fact, from the moment I entered the boat, you have been scheming against me. Perhaps if I had handed over the oath of blood, none of these things would have happened. However, you're worried that I won't hand it over, so you coughed out that mouthful of blood. You used a method unknown to me to change your appearance and aura to make me think you're Fan Shanmeng. Because of this misunderstanding, you told me the secret of this cave world so I would believe you are Fan Shanmeng. Then, when I was breaking the layers of restrictions, while some of your reactions were real, some are also fake. I hadn't figured it out before, but now I understand. Wang Lin slowly spoke as he looked at the woman. At this moment, a thunderous rumble came from the 3rd layer. Cracks appeared along with 7-colored light as if everything was about to collapse. Have you gone crazy? I don't understand anything you say. The woman frowned. Don't understand. Everything here is fake. The 2nd layer, the 3rd layer, the 4th layer, all of it is fake. You are fake. 7-colored may be real, but the one on this ship is fake. This is clearly a world of illusion. What a realistic world of illusion. I, Wang Lin, have encountered similar spells before, but I have never encountered one so terrifyingly real. The woman looked startled for a moment, then she revealed a bitter smile and retreated a few steps. She revealed a look of disbelief as she looked at Wang Lin and spoke bitterly. Fake? Wang Lin, have you really gone crazy? If you don't want to exchange oaths of blood, fine, but you say everything is fake. There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes as he raised his right hand and smashed down toward the collapsing 3rd layer. This hit caused the 3rd layer to collapse, and 7-colored light came through, shrouding the 4th layer. At the same time, the 7-colored Taoist figure closed in. What are you doing? The woman's eyes widened, filled with shock. She quickly retreated more than a few thousand feet in the blink of an eye. Her hand formed a seal and 7 colored lights surrounded her body. 7 long swords appeared and rotated around her. A giant shadow appeared behind her. This was a 7-colored flower. It bloomed in a demonic way and gave off an alluring scent. Wang Lin's expression didn't change. He stood there motionlessly and looked at the 7-colored Taoist coming from the 3rd layer. The 7-colored Taoist's expression was indifferent as he raised his right hand. A bright sun appeared in his hand. The sun wasn't big, only the size of his palm. However, the light and heat it gave off were like that of a real sun. Wang Lin's hair immediately began to burn and intense pain filled his body. The intense pain caused his expression to become twisted, as if his body was going to be melted by the sun. However, his gaze was still calm, without any change, allowing the sun to close in on him. In the distance, the woman was filled with disbelief and shock as the sun devoured Wang Lin. How did this happen? He is crazy. He is really crazy. However, at the next breath, the woman's eyes widened as she stared ahead and almost screamed. Wang Lin, who should have died in the sun, walked out. His hair wasn't burned at all, his clothes weren't damaged, and he didn't look tired. Instead, he looked calm. All of this is fake. Wang Lin closed his eyes and waved his right hand. The 7-colored light dissipated, the sun dissipated, the 7-colored Taoist dissipated, the 4th deck dissipated, the 3rd and 2nd layers of the deck dissipated. The last one to dissipate was the woman. Her face was filled with disbelief and confusion as she dissipated from this place. Wang Lin opened his eyes. The moment he opened his eyes, what he saw was the 1st deck of the Soul Devil ship. The sail fluttered on the mast and the ghostly face on the sail had a strange smile. Wang Lin was still sitting on the 1st deck, and the Ancient One shadow was still around him. Not far from him, the woman sitting there also opened her eyes, and her eyes were filled with a deep sense of confusion. It turns out you didn't even know everything was just an illusion. Wang Lin turned to look outside the boat. The layers of protection were still around the ship, and there was no sign of 7-colored light or the 7-colored Taoist. Even she was fake. Wang Lin silently stood up and waved his right hand. The Ancient One shadow dissipated. He looked around before finally looking at the sail on the mast of the ship. What happened? At this moment, the confusion in the woman's eyes dissipated as she stared at Wang Lin. Then she suddenly looked around. After she got a clear look at everything, her expression changed greatly. Great Soul True Illusion. This is Elder Sister's strongest spell. In order to kill 7-colored, even I was shrouded in this spell. This woman was Fan Shanlu. She got up and staggered back a few steps before coughing out blood. The arrival of the 7-colored Taoist was fake. He may have really chased us here, but he didn't appear before us. Wang Lin's gaze was still locked onto the ghostly face on the sail. You two sisters are very interesting. You think everything is within your calculations. You brought me here with a threat from both light and dark to get me to hand over the oath of blood. Your elder sister is even more brilliant. The moment I entered here, she created a world of illusion. She created the 7-colored Taoist pursuing us to get us here. Then she even went behind your back. When I was preparing to study the restrictions, she created an illusion within an illusion so I couldn't see through it. In that illusion within an illusion, she almost forced me to hand over the oath of blood. Brilliant. I, Wang Lin, have encountered countless people in my life, and only one person has made me dread him in my heart. Now there is one more, that is your elder sister. Wang Lin remained calm. Even his words contained no emotions. Fan Shanlu's face was deathly pale, and she carefully thought about everything that had happened. Her expression gradually became gloomy. She was certain what Wang Lin had said was true. She had indeed fallen to her elder sister's illusion. For your elder sister to have such powerful illusion spell, I'm guessing the Great Soul Sect is famous for their illusion spells on the immortal astral continent. Illusions, illusions, illusions. Wang Lin took a deep breath. Fan Shanlu pondered for a moment and then spoke softly with a complicated gaze. The Great Soul Sect is indeed most famous for its illusion spells. Not everyone is qualified to learn it. My elder sister has the talent and has already cultivated to the point of double illusion. The illusion within illusion you spoke of before was the double illusion. One step further is triple illusion. and we wouldn't have been able to escape that. I believe that when you said your sister died to the seven-colored celestial sovereign, and was then resurrected by your teacher, you lied. She didn't die, and it is likely that her illusion fooled the seven-colored celestial sovereign. It is even likely that what happened between those two wasn't as you said. However, I'm not interested in any of this. As Wang Lin spoke, he stepped forward and arrived next to the mast. His eyes became cold and he tore down the sail. I'll take this treasure. At this moment, on the immortal astral continent, in a frozen mountain, the woman inside suddenly opened her eyes and coughed out blood. Her eyes were filled with shock. He actually broke my great soul true illusion. At the same time, in another part of this strange space where the ship was located, the seven-colored Taoist sat there among the corpses of many fierce beasts. His expression sometimes revealed pain and sometimes revealed excitement. This kind of strange expression rarely appeared on him. Even he had entered the illusion the moment he entered here. Or it was better to say that he had voluntarily entered it. Otherwise, even though his cultivation level was lower than Fan Shanmeng's, it wouldn't have been difficult to leave. However, only he knew why he was willing to enter the illusion and not wake up. Wang Lin tore off the ghostly face sail. He carefully looked at the ghostly face, and the ghostly face seemed to be staring back at him. The reason Fan Shanmeng was able to use her great soul true illusion and reach the level of double illusion while she was far away on the immortal astral continent was because of this sail. Wang Lin clearly remembered how he looked at the ghostly face before he ended the illusion within an illusion. After that, he was completely trapped until he broke the illusion, and when he opened his eyes, he was still looking at the ghostly face. It seemed as if everything in that illusion had happened the instant Wang Lin looked at the ghostly face. On the side, Fan Shanlu pondered silently for a moment and then slowly said, "This is the treasure of my great soul sect and also the main soul sail of the Soul Devil ship. I don't care about the matter between you two sisters. There is no need to exchange oaths of blood, as we share a common goal. If there's no hidden intent, then we can cooperate. However, your elder sister's behavior before was very interesting. Tell her that I'll be taking this ghostly sail and this Soul Devil ship as compensation for the unpleasantry that happened." Wang Lin waved his right hand and put away the sail into his storage space as he looked at Fan Shanlu. Fan Shanlu opened her mouth as if she wanted to say something, but in the end she remained silent. She silently stood there with a complicated expression in her eyes. "You don't need to leave this ship. I can leave this ship with you. When I need it, I'll call you to bring it to me. Is the ancient altar you spoke of when we were in the illusion in this ship?" Wang Lin spoke and there was a hint of coldness in his eyes. Fan Shanlu pondered for a long time before shaking her head. She raised her hand and a jade flew toward Wang Lin. He caught it and saw there was a map inside. There are countless fierce beasts in the space here. This space was formed due to the battle that happened in the cave. Somehow, it connected to a strange world. If you follow the map, you will see an ancient altar. This jade also contains a spell. This is the spell I spoke of in the illusion that can devour the third soul. You should study it well. Fan Shanlu spoke softly as she looked into the distance. Her gaze contained a hint of homesickness. Wang Lin pondered for a moment and then clasped his hands at Fan Shanlu. Just as he was about to leave, Fan Shanlu's quiet words echoed. "My elder sister is so desperate for revenge that even I was used. We can cooperate and I'll do my best to help you. I only have one request. When you open the gate to the immortal astral continent, take me with you. I want to go home. It is very difficult to open this cave. Only the third soul has the memory and knows where the heavenly Tao is. Only by summoning the heavenly Tao can you enter the seven-colored celestial sovereign's celestial palace." The celestial palace was the location of the Great War from back then. Although it is in ruins, there is a door there that leads to the immortal astral continent. Opening that gate means opening up the cave. Wang Lin stopped. After pondering for a bit, he turned to look at the bleak Fan Shanlu and nodded. "I promise you." Wang Lin rarely made promises. This was his first promise since he reached the third step. It wasn't for any benefit, it had nothing to do with trust or anything. It was only because of what she had said. "I want to go home." Fan Shanlu bit her lower lip and looked at Wang Lin. After hearing Wang Lin's words, she nodded and bit the tip of her tongue. She spat out ball of blood that was scarlet red but soon turned golden as it flew toward Wang Li. This is my oath of blood. Wang Lin caught that pale golden blood and put it inside his body. He didn't turn around and left. Wang Lin no longer needed to study the restrictions on the ship. The world inside the double illusion was the same as the real world. All the knowledge Wang Lin had gained inside the illusion stayed with him. Just like how Fan Shanlu was injured in the illusion and still had the same injuries after the illusion broke. The Great Soul Sex spells were indeed strange and unfathomable. That ghost face sail is the main sail for the Soul Devil ship. The sail is not simply that ghostly face. It also contains many restrictions. These restrictions include everything about the Soul Devil ship. If I refine this sail, not only can I master more restrictions, but I can also use it to control the ship. Wang Lin's divine sense entered his storage space and slowly refined the sail. As he refined, he gradually learned more about how to control the ship. As time passed, he would eventually gain full control over the ship. A moment later, Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he no longer thought about the sail. He raised his hand and touched the spot between his eyebrows. Yimo's child died by my hand and I absorbed 8 drops of ancient blood. If I can fuse with them, it will make my ancient one body even stronger. Right now I must go look at the altar. Perhaps I'll find some luck there. Although I'm at the spirit void stage, I am still lacking compared to the arcane void cultivators. Now that the ancient celestial realm has opened and the 4 generals have appeared, their goal should be to search for the 3rd soul. That will save me a lot of trouble. And this is the perfect time to raise my cultivation level. Wang Lin pondered as he moved faster and faster. His divine sense spread out to carefully observe his surroundings. The sky was completely dark and the auras of fierce beasts lingered everywhere. These beasts were not a threat to Wang Lin. They would retreat in fear the moment his divine sense swept by. In this foreign space, Wang Lin was very wary. Although the surrounding beasts were no threat to him, there was one thing he was uncertain of: whether or not the 7-colored Taoist had come here. Although his divine sense was spread out, he was completely focused. If anything abnormal happened, he would escape. This was very dangerous, but he had to go to the altar. If he became too scared to move around due to one uncertainty, then he wouldn't have been able to reach the cultivation level he had today. After several hours, Wang Lin suddenly stopped and his expression changed. Without hesitation, he rapidly retreated and was about to disappear. However, just as he was about to disappear, he exclaimed and stared straight ahead. His expression was constantly changing. His divine sense saw a figure sitting there, motionless hundreds of thousands of kilometers away, sitting among the corpses of countless fierce beasts. The figure's expression was sometimes complicated, sometimes confused, sometimes resentful, and sometimes excited. He was the 7-colored Taoist. After pondering for a while, Wang Lin's eyes lit up. The 7-colored Taoist looked extremely strange, but after pondering for a bit, Wang Lin realized that he seemed to be trapped in an illusion. This is likely Fan Shaming's illusion. Even the 7-colored Taoist is trapped. With his cultivation level, this illusion, this matter. Something is wrong with this. Wang Lin was extremely smart, and after pondering a bit, he immediately realized the problem. Wang Lin's heart started pounding and a rare struggle appeared in his heart. On one hand, he should immediately leave. In his current state, the 7-colored Taoist wouldn't chase after Wang Lin. Due to this, Wang Lin's trip to the altar would be without danger. On the other hand, Wang Lin felt like this was an opportunity. If he could enter 7-colored's illusion, then he would be able to uncover some secrets. He felt that Fan Shaming's cultivation level wasn't high enough to trap the 7-colored Taoist. There had to be some other reason. He faintly felt that if he gave up this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, he would definitely regret it in the future. After struggling for 7 to 8 minutes, there was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes. Seek wealth and danger. Wang Lin moved forward with full caution and his figure disappeared. When he reappeared, he was 100,000 feet away from the 7-colored Taoist. There was a large amount of fierce beast corpses in the area. Wang Lin stood on one and looked down at it. His eyes slowly began to glow. These fierce beasts haven't been dead for long. Wang Lin looked at 7-colored in the distance. He raised his right hand and the corpse of a beast that was about 100 feet large floated upward. Wang Lin waved his hand and the corpse flew toward the seven-colored Taoist. Wang Lin leaned slightly backwards as he stared at the corpse as it flew within 1,000 feet of the seven-colored Taoist. However, just as the corpse got within 1,000 feet, the seven-colored light behind the seven-colored Taoist shined. Then the corpse silently disappeared before Wang Lin. There was no flesh or blood, no pieces left. It had disappeared completely. Sure enough, Wang Lin silently pondered and cautiously walked forward. He was not fast and his heart pounded as he walked forward. He crossed the 100,000 feet distance and stopped 1,000 feet away from the seven-colored Taoist,